Chapter 391. Heavily injured, fifth brother. No one will take you for a mute if you don't speak. Jean, whose face darkened as he chided. The five of us together can only go up against a peak Yuan core martial artist. How are you going to kill an early Inyang martial artist? Big brother. Pai Hu fiercely glared at Ningyu after being scolded by the golden tiger. Then, he immediately retreated behind the golden tiger and no longer spoke. Hee. Ningyu, my fifth brother has a big mouth. His words cannot be trusted. Jean, who laughed. Your fifth brother's words can't be trusted, but what about yours? Ningyu stared at Golden Tiger and said solemnly. Being stared at by Ningyu, Jean, who felt like he was being stared at by a wolf and felt uncomfortable. Resisting the urge to attack, Jean, who said, Of course my words can be trusted. I have no quarrel with you. There is no reason for me to lie to you. I hope so. Shrugging, Ningyu walked to an empty space and sat down cross-legged. After Ningyu sat down, Jean, who and the rest looked at each other and began to discuss in low voices. Big brother, I think Ningyu's already discovered us. Why don't we make our move while the man in red is gone? Pai Hu was the first to speak. He was still holding a grudge for what had happened earlier and could not wait to grab Ningyu and slap Ningyu a few times. Big brother, I think fifth brother's right. Ningyu must have noticed something. If we wait any longer, it will only be disadvantageous for us. Tai Hu and Pai Hu shared the same opinion. The man in red who went out just now has already gone up against the evil blood guards. Silver and bronze tigers echoed. Losing an important helper is very beneficial for us. This is a rare opportunity. We cannot miss it. Hearing the other four martial artists' words, Jean, whose heart began to waver. Ningyu's growth was just too fast. Compared to the Ningyu who fought Zhang Bin, the current Ningyu's strength had increased by at least 30%. In other words, if Ningyu was given another 2 hours, it was highly likely that Ningyu's strength would double. Now that Ningyu is already so strong, if he doubled it, the scene would be too beautiful. Golden Tiger didn't dare to think about it. After pondering for a moment, Golden Tiger said coldly, Pai Hu, go test Ningyu first. See if Ningyu is at his peak. Golden Tiger didn't plan on completely exposing himself. He decided to let Pai Hu test the waters. If Ningyu wasn't at his peak, he would join the battle and fight Ningyu with Pai Hu. If Ningyu was strong, then they would have to think about it at length. Yes, big brother. Pai Hu had been waiting for this moment for a long time. His face lit up when he heard Golden Tiger's words. His figure flickered as he arrived in front of Ningyu. Kid, didn't you say that we were weak? Now I challenge you. Pai Hu said sinisterly. Not interested. Ningyu didn't even bat an eyelid as he rejected Pai Hu's challenge. You're asking for it. Pai Hu was enraged by Ningyu's disregard. In the next moment, he rose from the ground and punched at Ningyu with a violent gust of wind. There's indeed something wrong with an early primal core cultivation to be able to unleash such powerful combat power. Feeling the violent Yuan Qi in Pai Hu's fist, Ningyu's face turned serious, but that was all. Even if Pai Hu's strength doubled, he would still not be a match for him. Ningyu's right hand struck out and collided with Pai Hu's fist. Crack! When the two fists collided, a crisp sound accompanied by a scream like a pig being slaughtered rang out in the area. What's going on? I don't know. This scream seems to have come from the Zhang family's courtyard. Is there anyone else in the Zhang family's courtyard? Of course there are people inside. Have you forgotten that Ningyu and the 5 Yuan Dan realm martial artists are still inside? Not just them. There are also the Zhang family's peak primal core practitioners and 10 evil blood guards. The Zhang family's peak primal core practitioners and 10 evil blood guards must have met with misfortune. Otherwise, the man in red beside Ningyu would not have come out and fought with the remaining 10 evil blood guards. In front of the Zhang family's courtyard, many practitioners stood on 2 sides, leaving a large open space in the middle. In the open space, a chaotic battle was taking place. The 2 sides were naturally the Zhang family and the Hong Mo family. On the Hong Mo side, there were Sun Xing, Ho Qing Chun, and the elders of the various families. On the Zhang family side, there were the Zhang family practitioners and 10 evil blood guards. Originally, Everyone was watching the battle between the Zhang family and the Hong Mo family. Who would have thought that a scream like a pig being slaughtered would come from the Zhang family's courtyard, attracting everyone's attention? Ningyu, I want you dead. Pai Hu let out a scream like a pig being slaughtered as his bones were smashed. Then, with a hideous look, he said, "No one can save you today. If you want to fight, let's fight. Why all the nonsense?" Patting his butt, Ningyu stood up from the ground and said, "You're not my opponent. Tai Hu, Tong Hu, come at me together." Big brother. Hearing this, Tai Hu and Tong Hu looked at Golden Tiger, seeking his opinion. "We could try," Golden Tiger said. Whoosh, whoosh. As soon as Golden Tiger finished speaking, Tai Hu and Tong Hu rose from the ground and turned into a blur as they charged at Ningyu with Pai Hu. Pai Hu and Tai Hu were early Primal Core practitioners, while Tong Hu was mid-Primal Core practitioners. The three of them together could match a peak Primal Core practitioner in terms of aura. 3. Seeing Pai Hu and the others charging at him, Ningyu's face darkened. He waved his sleeve, and a flying sword appeared in his hand. Soul Severing Sword. Ningyu had already handed the Red Devil Sword to Hong Mo. Now, he could only use the Soul Severing Sword. Fortunately, Pai Hu and the others did not have high levels of cultivation. Otherwise, Ningyu would not be able to defeat them with the Soul Severing Sword alone. Solitaire. With a low shout, Ningyu waved the Soul Severing Sword and sent out a sword wave towards Pai Hu and the others. Buzz. As soon as the sword wave flew out, it split into 3 and slashed at Pai Hu, Tai Hu, and Tong Hu respectively. Oh no! Pai Hu and the others were not fools. They could clearly feel the powerful Yuan Qi waves coming from the sword wave. However, they had already said what they wanted. If they backed out now, they would definitely be mocked by Ningyu. They had no choice but to face the sword wave head-on. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Without a doubt, Pai Hu and the others had overestimated their strength. The 3 sword waves tore apart the energy barrier in front of them in an instant. Then, under their horrified gazes, they slashed at their chests. The pain from their chests caused Pai Hu and the others to spit out a mouthful of blood. Their breaths were weak. Hiss. However, they did not notice that when the sword wave came into contact with their chests, a wisp of soul power quietly attached itself to them and entered their bodies through the wounds on their chests. Come back. After doing all this, Ningyu waved his hand, and the Soul Severing Sword turned around in the air and returned to his side. Chapter 392. Chapter 392. Shattering the Protective Shield, Puchi. Hearing Ningyu's words, Pai Hu spat out another mouthful of blood, his face ashen with anger. He had lost to Ningyu twice, and the second time, it was 3 people against him at the same time. This made Pai Hu lose all face. Pai Hu clenched his fists, forgetting that the bones in his right hand had been broken by Ningyu. He couldn't help but let out a miserable shriek. Ningyu, it's just a spar. Don't you think it's a little inexcusable for you to be so heavy-handed? Just then, Silver Tiger's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of Pai Hu, blocking him. Inexcusable? Ningyu raised his eyebrows. Injuries are unavoidable in a spar. If you're afraid, then don't spar with me from the start. I'll spar with you. Silver Tiger snorted coldly. Do you dare? Ningyu didn't answer Silver Tiger. Instead, he moved his feet, walking toward Golden Tiger. After a while, Ningyu stood in front of Golden Tiger. What do you think of this matter? Ningyu asked directly. I have no opinion. I won't stop second brother from doing what he wants to do, Golden Tiger said indifferently, as if he didn't care. Ningyu, do you dare or not? If you don't dare, just admit defeat and I won't make things difficult for you. Silver Tiger shouted. Why wouldn't I dare? Ningyu shrugged. I'm just afraid that someone will admit defeat later. Shameless boasting. With a sneer, Silver Tiger appeared in front of Ningyu like a ghost. His leg brought along a violent Yuan Qi gale, ruthlessly sweeping toward Ningyu's head. This kick was powerful, heavy, and clean. If Ningyu was kicked, his brain would probably explode. Silver Tiger's sudden attack made Ningyu's face turn grave. He raised his right arm in front of him. Bang! Silver Tiger's kick landed squarely on Ning Yu's right arm. Kacha! The heavy blow even caused cracks to appear on the bluestone floor beneath Ning Yu's feet. If this is all you've got, then go to hell. Xiao! In the next moment, the Silver Tiger leaped into the air and charged at Ning Yu at an astonishing speed. With second brother's help, that brat Ning Yu is dead for sure, Pai Hu said sinisterly when he saw Silver Tiger dashing out. That's right. Second brother's strength is comparable to an early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist. How could Ning Yu be his match? Tong Hu nodded. I'm really looking forward to seeing Ning Yu's expression when he kneels on the ground and begs for mercy, Tai Hu said coldly. Third brother, fourth brother, after Ning Yu is defeated, you must give me a chance to humiliate him, Pai Hu said viciously. Don't worry, fifth brother. We will keep Ning Yu's arm for you. Tong Hu smiled as he patted Pai Hu's shoulder. Yes, when the time comes, not only can you cripple Ning Yu's arm, but you can also dig out. What? Tai Hu echoed. However, before he could finish his sentence, he saw a horrifying scene. His eyes widened, and his face was filled with astonishment. Not far away, Ning Yu formed a hand seal with his right hand and suddenly blasted out a palm print. The palm print contained violent yuan qi fluctuations, and before the Silver Tiger could react, it had already arrived in front of him. Xiao! Then, Ning Yu waved his sleeves, and a weak cold glint of soul power shot out. Explode! Following Ning Yu's shout, the cold light of his soul force collided with the palm print and exploded. Rumble! The aftermath of the explosion seemed to have eyes and rushed towards Silver Tiger. Damn it! The sudden change caused Silver Tiger's expression to change. He hurriedly took out the golden core in his sea of consciousness and let it float above his head. Buzz! The yuan qi in Silver Tiger's golden core quickly surged out and formed a yuan qi shield in front of him. After the shield was formed, Silver Tiger was still a little worried. He took out a white ball and crushed it. When the ball shattered, a terrifying yuan qi surged out and attached itself to the yuan qi shield in front of Silver Tiger. Qi! 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 The aftermath of the explosion collided with the yuan qi shield and produced a continuous burst of sizzling sounds. Is Ning Yu so strong? Could it be that even second brother is no match for him? Impossible! Second brother must have held back. Pai Hu shouted loudly. Second brother, what are you waiting for? Show your trump card and defeat that brat Ning Yu. Silver Tiger also wanted to use his trump card, but now that he was trapped in the yuan qi shield, he didn't dare to move an inch. He could feel that the aftermath of the explosion of Ning Yu's palm imprint contained a terrifying soul pressure. If he used his trump card now, Ning Yu would definitely see through it and take it away. That was because he couldn't use his trump card under the powerful soul force. Silver Tiger communicated with Golden Tiger while resisting the aftermath of the explosion. Big brother, if we don't attack now, when will we? Jin, who took a deep breath and said, Give me 3 minutes. I need to prepare. Ning Yu's strength was somewhat beyond Golden Tiger's expectations. He originally thought that no matter how weak Silver Tiger was, he could at least fight with Ning Yu for a few dozen moves. But now it seemed that he was wrong. In just 2 moves, Silver Tiger was restrained. Moreover, he was restrained so tightly that he couldn't even use his trump card. I can't care so much. Even if others find out, I have to seize this chance to capture Ning Yu. Golden Tiger's eyes flashed with a bright light. He immediately sat down cross-legged and quickly formed hand seals with both hands. Actually, before coming here, Golden Tiger's order was to bring back Ning Yu without alerting anyone else and arousing their suspicions. If it really didn't work, then he could kill him. Therefore, Golden Tiger didn't plan to attack in Ivory City at first. But the current situation didn't allow him to think too much. He could only capture Ning Yu here, or even kill him. Although Ning Yu was attacking the yuan qi shield in front of Silver Tiger with all his strength, his eyes were still focused on Golden Tiger. Especially when Golden Tiger sat down cross-legged and started forming hand seals with both hands. His expression also became completely gloomy. 3 minutes to prepare. Ning Yu was very skilled in controlling his soul power. Moreover, Silver Tiger's soul power was only at the level 4 level. Therefore, Ningyu had already seen through the conversation between Silver Tiger and Golden Tiger. Ningyu knew very well that Silver Tiger was not weak. If he hadn't taken the initiative, he would probably still be entangled with Silver Tiger. If that's the case, I'll kill Silver Tiger first. Thinking of this, Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and he slashed with the soul-breaking sword in his hand. Whoosh! In the next instant, several sword waves appeared and blasted toward the Yuan Qi barrier in front of Silver Tiger from all directions. Crack! Several sword waves slashed at the Yuan Qi protective shield, and in an instant, the Yuan Qi protective shield was on the verge of collapsing, constantly swaying. Oh no! Chapter 393. Mother and Child Ring, damn it. The item that Golden Tiger brought needed 3 minutes to prepare before it could unleash its full power. Only 2 minutes had passed, and he was not ready yet. However, he cursed under his breath when he saw Silver Tiger's miserable state. His body turned into an afterimage as he charged at Ningyu. Golden Tiger had no other choice. If he did not make a move, Silver Tiger would most likely be killed. He had fought alongside Silver Tiger and the others for a long time and had a good relationship with them. Naturally, he did not want to see Silver Tiger and the others killed. Finally making a move, seeing Golden Tiger charging at him, Ningyu's expression turned grave. In the next moment, he injected the primordial qi in his sea of consciousness in his fist and punched the primordial qi barrier in front of Silver Tiger. Crack! Bang! 2 consecutive sounds rang out in the area. The first was the sound of the primordial qi barrier shattering. The second was the sound of Silver Tiger being sent flying and hitting the wall. Puffed. Silver Tiger coughed up a mouthful of blood. His aura was somewhat weak. Thump. Silver Tiger struggled to stand up, but he realized that his legs were weak and fell to the ground again. Solitaire. After sending Silver Tiger flying with 1 strike, Ningyu's eyes turned cold. He quickly swung the absolute soul sword in his hand and slashed out a huge sword wave. Not only was this sword wave huge, but it was also much more powerful than the previous sword waves. Oomph. Child's play. Golden Tiger clearly did not take the sword wave seriously. He snorted and swung out a cold gleam from his sleeve. Puffed. The cold gleam and the sword wave collided. What Golden Tiger expected did not happen. Instead, the cold gleam that he swung out was defeated. Then, a huge sword wave slashed toward the Golden Tiger's face. Go! At the critical moment, Golden Tiger reached into his pocket and took out a silver bracelet. He frantically injected the primordial qi in his body into the bracelet. As the primordial qi continued to enter, the bracelet gradually grew until it was the size of Golden Tiger. What? Then, under Ningyu's astonished gaze, the ring erupted with a terrifying, devouring force, swallowing the sword wave that he slashed out into its body. Obviously, Ningyu did not expect such a change. After staring at the ring for a second, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling about this. Devour magic treasures. Furthermore, it has reached heaven rank high grade. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's expression was extremely solemn. Because he determined that the ring before the Golden Tiger wasn't an ordinary magic treasure, it was a devouring magic treasure, and it was a shocking high-grade heaven rank magic treasure. Although the Absolute Soul Sword was also a devouring magic treasure, it was merely a low-grade heaven rank magic treasure. Moreover, it could only devour soul force. If Ningyu didn't guess wrongly, the ring in front of him could not only absorb soul force, but it could also devour Yuan Qi. Ningyu, I didn't expect you to know your stuff. After the ring had completely devoured the sword wave, Golden Tiger sneered. Surrender obediently and let me destroy your cultivation. Then you might have a chance to live. Otherwise, then Golden Tiger threw the ring into the air and said gloomily, only death awaits you. Golden Tiger, do you think a high-grade heaven rank devouring magic treasure can restrain me? Ningyu said coldly. I think you've misunderstood. Golden Tiger shrugged and pointed at the ring in the air. This is just a child ring. Its function is to devour soul force and yuan qi. Child ring? There's a mother ring? Ningyu frowned. Of course. Golden Tiger waved his sleeve, and in the blink of an eye, a golden ring flew out and stopped on top of the silver-white ring. This is a mother ring. The mother ring is much more powerful than the child ring because it can launch attacks. Big brother, stop talking nonsense with him. Hurry up and kill him. At this moment, Pai Hu dragged his heavy steps to Golden Tiger and said fiercely, "If we delay, there might be changes." That's right, big brother. Ningyu is very cunning. He might have already asked for help from Danwu College. Not far away, Silver Tiger shouted. When we came, the Crown Prince said that this time, Danwu College will also send experts. Second brother. Golden Tiger scolded before Silver Tiger could finish his sentence. The Crown Prince? Although Silver Tiger quickly shut his mouth, Ningyu still heard the key word from his mouth. The Crown Prince. Could it be that Golden Tiger and the others were sent by the Crown Prince? Thinking of this, Ningyu clenched his fists and was on the verge of exploding in anger. The imperial family was too much. First, they sent Tu Zhan, who was at the Yin-Yang realm, to bring the Dark Emperor to the capital. Who would have thought that Tu Zhan would fail miserably and be brought to the entrance of the Ivory Tower by the Hall Master of Alchemy and forced to self-destruct? Now, the Crown Prince had also sent 5 Yuan Dan realm martial artists to take his life. An aunt could endure, but an uncle could not. Whoosh! With a thought, Ningyu's 4 illusory golden cores flew out from his consciousness and floated above his head. Illusory golden cores? And there are 4 of them? Looking at the illusory golden cores above Ningyu's head, Golden Tiger and the others were dumbfounded. In their minds, only a half-step Yuan Dan realm martial artist could turn chi whirlpools into illusory golden cores. As a late-stage, true martial realm martial artist, how did Ningyu do it? Big brother, could his illusory golden cores be fake? Pai Hu frowned. Shaking his head, Golden Tiger said, "They're not fake. Every illusory golden core is real. Furthermore, they contain violent yuan qi, much more than yours." Hearing this, Pai Hu's heart skipped a beat. He was an early primal core martial artist, and there was a lot of yuan qi in his golden core. If each of Ningyu's illusory golden cores contained more yuan qi than him, wouldn't that mean that the yuan qi in Ningyu's body had already reached the middle primal core stage, or even the late primal core stage? Don't worry, just hold off Ningyu for a minute. After a minute, I will let him know why the flowers are so red. With a cold snort, Golden Tiger took a few steps back and said in a low voice, "The mother ring is very special. The mother ring needs to be activated before it can attack. Give me another minute." Understood. Pai Hu and the others knew the severity of the situation. With 4 illusory golden cores, Ningyu might still have a trump card. Once Ningyu used his trump card, it was highly likely that they would fail miserably today. They had prepared for so long and endured for so long. If they failed at the last minute, Ningyu would not even need to kill them, for the first prince would not spare them. Therefore, even if they were to suffer serious injuries, they had to hold off Ningyu for a minute. You want to hold me off for a minute? Why don't you look in the mirror and see what you're made of? The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up as he growled. Explode. Bang. 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 When Ningyu growled, Pai Hu, Tong Hu, and Tai Hu's expressions changed dramatically. What did you leave in our bodies? Pai Hu stared at Ningyu in disbelief. His eyes were filled with deep fear. Chapter 394. Broken Mother Ring. Actually, I didn't leave anything behind. Just a strand of soul force in your bodies. Ningyu shrugged and said, "Since you want to kill me, then you should be prepared to be killed." It's not that easy to kill us." With a cold snort, Pai Hu and the others hurriedly sank their consciousness into their bodies, trying to control their yuan qi to expel Ningyu's soul force. The ignorant are fearless. With the soul-breaking sword in hand, Ningyu quickly rushed out and arrived in front of Pai Hu and the others in the blink of an eye. Swoosh! 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 Ningyu slashed out 3 sword rays in a row. Under the horrified gazes of Pai Hu and the others, the sword rays ruthlessly stabbed into their chests. Boom! As soon as the sword rays stabbed into their chests, Pai-Hu and the others exploded and disappeared from the world. At this moment, Pai-Hu, Tai-Hu, and Tong-Hu were killed on the spot. Golden Tiger, it's your turn. After killing Pai-Hu and the others with a powerful attack, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he directly flew toward Golden Tiger. If you want to attack my big brother, then you'll have to get through me first. However, not long after Ningyu moved, Silver Tiger crazily rushed toward him. Noisy. Silver Tiger was already heavily injured. Now that he attacked Ningyu, it was no different from throwing an egg at a rock. Ningyu only used 50% of his strength to slash out a sword ray and kill Silver Tiger. Ningyu, I'll cut you into 1,000 pieces. In less than a minute, Silver Tiger and the others were killed by Ningyu. This was something Golden Tiger never expected. He originally thought that Silver Tiger and the others could resist Ningyu for a minute. Who would have thought that the reality was so cruel? Mother Ring, attack for me. After shouting, Golden Tiger jumped up from the ground and controlled the Mother Ring above his head to attack Ningyu. Xiao! The Mother Ring's speed was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu. Then, in front of Ningyu's surprised eyes, for Yuan Qi light pillars suddenly rushed out. These Yuan Qi light pillars did not immediately blast towards Ningyu. Instead, they turned around and blasted towards the illusory golden core above Ningyu's head. Come back. Feeling the violent fluctuation of Yuan Qi contained in the Yuan Qi light beam, Ningyu's complexion changed dramatically, and he hurriedly controlled the golden core to return to his body. The power of each essence Qi light beam was comparable to the full blow of a half-step yin-yang realm martial artist. Although Ningyu wasn't afraid of it, his golden core phantom was weak. If it was hit, it would definitely shatter. Out of the 4 illusory golden cores, the shattering of even one was a huge loss for Ningyu. He could not afford it. Solitaire. Retracting the illusory golden core, Ningyu waved the broken soul sword in his hand desperately, sending out multiple sword waves to meet the Yuan Qi light beams. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Although the power of a single sword wave was not as powerful as the Yuan Qi light beams, it was still difficult to block the 4 Yuan Qi light beams. 3 minutes later, the 4 Yuan Qi light beams completely dissipated. I want to see how many Yuan Qi light beams you can block. With a cold laugh, the Golden Tiger injected the Yuan Qi in his body into the Mother Ring and once again controlled the Mother Ring to send out multiple Yuan Qi light beams. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This time, Ningyu's heart sank to the bottom, because in front of him, there were dozens of Yuan Qi light pillars surging, bombarding him without any regard for their lives. Although the power of these Yuan Qi light beams had decreased significantly and were only equivalent to a peak primal core martial artist attack, there were still many of them. It was not difficult for Ningyu to block one Yuan Qi light beam, but with so many of them, even if he were to advance to the early primal core stage, it would be difficult for him to block them. Damn it, if only the red demon sword was in my hands. Cursing under his breath, Ningyu wrapped the Yuan Qi around his legs and quickly retreated. The broken soul sword was only an inferior grade heaven-level flying sword, so its power was limited. Even if Ningyu used solitaire with all his might, he would not be able to block the many Yuan Qi light beams in front of him. The red demon sword was different. It had reached the king level, perhaps even the peak of the king level. With the support of the red demon sword, the power of each solitaire was equivalent to a half-step yin-yang stage martial artist attack. Whoosh! However, just as Ningyu finished speaking, a cold light flew in from outside the Zhang house and landed in front of him in the blink of an eye. The red demon sword? Ningyu was a little stunned when he saw the true face of the cold light. Just as Ningyu was in a daze, the red demon's anxious voice rang in his mind. What are you waiting for, Ningyu? Hurry up and use the red demon sword, or we'll be too late. Red demon, the situation on your side? Ningyu asked with a frown. Before Ningyu could finish his sentence, the red demon said anxiously, I'm fine. More than half of the evil blood guards have been taken care of. I have no use for the red demon sword. You can control it now. Hearing this, Ningyu gritted his teeth and hurriedly injected the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness into the red demon sword. Then, he stabbed the sword in front of the golden tiger. The sixth form of the supreme nine purities sword technique, solitaire. This time, Ningyu did not hesitate to inject all the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness into the red demon sword. He even injected the azure spirit fire into it. Facing dozens of Yuan Qi light beams, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. If he was careless, the consequences would be unimaginable. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Every time Ningyu waved the red demon sword, a sword wave with traces of blue flames would appear. The sword wave would crazily attack the Yuan Qi light beams as soon as it appeared. Whoosh. One sword wave naturally could not withstand countless Yuan Qi light beams. The sword wave was quickly devoured by the Yuan Qi light beams and turned into cannon fodder. Sometimes, cannon fodder could play a crucial role. When the first sword ripple was swallowed, a dozen or so sword ripples separated from the red demon sword and collided with the dozens of vital Qi light pillars. Boom! In midair, a total of 50 to 60 Yuan Qi light beams collided with the sword wave and exploded. Then, a sword wave emerged and swept toward the golden tiger. Oh no! The golden tiger did not expect Ningyu's sword wave to be so powerful after obtaining the red flying sword. Each sword wave was equivalent to a half-step Yin-Yang realm martial artist's full-force attack. Just 10 sword waves were enough to shatter the dozens of Yuan Qi light shields that came out of his mother ring. Moreover, they were still rushing towards him. Such a change truly shocked the golden tiger. Without much time to think, he quickly summoned the child ring back, hoping that it could devour the sword wave that Ningyu had slashed out. Oomph. The Z-Ring is a high Tian class devouring treasure. This sword ripple of yours can't do anything to what? Jean, who let out a cold snort. His prideful words had yet to finish when his expression changed drastically and his pupil shrank. This was because he realized that Ningyu's sword wave had directly passed through the child ring. In other words, the child ring's devouring power did not have any effect on the sword wave. Golden Tiger, I added the 280th flame on the mystic flame, ranking to this sword wave, the azure spirit fire. It can easily deceive the child ring. Chapter 395. The First Prince's Threat, Indigo Spiritual Fire. The golden tiger's expression changed drastically, and his heart sank to the bottom. The child rings of the mother-child ring had a special characteristic, and that was that they had no effect on the mystical fire. In other words, as long as the mystical fire wrapped around the Yuan Qi and soul power, the child rings would not be able to devour them. Oh no! Just as Golden Tiger was in shock, Ningyu's solitary sword wave had already arrived in front of him. Under his horrified gaze, Ningyu ruthlessly slashed at his neck. At the critical moment, the Golden Tiger could not care less and quickly raised his right arm to block. A hysterical shriek resounded in the area. The Golden Tiger was pushed back several meters by the huge force, and his back came into contact with the wall. Swoosh! Ningyu did not stop after his successful attack. He flipped his wrist, and countless palm prints appeared before him. Underworld Dominator Palm. As Ningyu shouted, his body was like a cheetah as he lunged at the Golden Tiger. Looking at the approaching Ningyu, the Golden Tiger clenched his teeth and suddenly exerted strength in his legs, charging at Ningyu. Boom! For a moment, time seemed to have stopped. Then, the two figures separated and retreated. Bang! A moment later, the Golden Tiger hit the wall again. The huge force even caused him to be embedded in the wall. On the other hand, Ningyu's body floated to the back. If one looked closely, one could see traces of blood at the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that Ningyu's injuries were not light. Wiping the blood at the corner of his mouth, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "Golden Tiger, are you under the First Prince's orders?" "Ha! You want to get some information out of me? Forget it." The Golden Tiger laughed. It was obvious that he did not want to tell Ningyu about the First Prince. "Forget it. I know even if you don't say it. The First Prince must have sent you." Ningyu could not be bothered to talk nonsense with the Golden Tiger. Without the Red Fiend sword, the Red Fiend's battle prowess would drop by at least 50% or even more. Although the Red Fiend had said it casually when he handed the Red Fiend's sword to him, Ningyu knew that the Red Fiend must not have felt good. The dozen or so fiendish blood guards and the many experts of the Zhang clan were not easy to deal with. Therefore, Ningyu didn't want to waste time with the Golden Tiger here. There was still a long way to go. Sooner or later, he would settle the score with the Imperial family. Golden Tiger, there are some people in this world that you cannot offend. Since you have offended them, you must pay the price. The moment the word price fell, Ningyu rose from the ground and turned into an afterimage, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! In the next instant, Ningyu appeared in front of the Golden Tiger and stabbed the red demon sword at the Golden Tiger's heart. Puff! The sound of a flying sword piercing into flesh was so crisp. You've offended the first prince. You won't have a good ending. The Golden Tiger pointed at Ningyu. Before he finished speaking, his eyes rolled and his breath dissipated. Ding ding! After the Golden Tiger was killed, the mother and child bracelets lost control in midair and fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Ningyu put away the red demon sword and picked up the mother and child bracelets. After obtaining the mother and child bracelets, Ningyu quickly sent a wisp of his soul power into the bracelets in an attempt to erase the soul imprint that the Golden Tiger had left behind. Oof! However, just as Ningyu's soul power entered the mother and child bracelets, a cold snort sounded from within the bracelets. How dare you steal my Dharma treasure? You must have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall. Hearing this voice, Ningyu was slightly stunned. He felt that the voice was somewhat familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had heard it before. Suddenly, Ningyu's expression changed, and he said in a deep voice, "You are the first prince. You know that I am the first prince, yet you still dare to steal my mother and child bracelets? Are you tired of living?" The first prince's voice sounded again, and it was extremely overbearing. "I addressed you as the first prince, and you dare to act so arrogantly?" Ningyu said coldly, "You sent people to kill me. I will take revenge for this sooner or later. Just you wait in the capital. Don't let anything go wrong." Hee, the Golden Tiger and the other good-for-nothings really failed. But it doesn't matter. As long as you are stronger, it will be more interesting. The first prince smiled evilly. "Just you wait. The battle between us has just begun." Oh no! As soon as the first prince finished speaking, Ningyu's expression changed drastically. He quickly withdrew his soul power from the mother and child bracelets and used all his strength to throw them into the air. Rumble! After the mother and child bracelets rose to a certain height, they suddenly exploded. How ruthless! Seeing the mother and child bracelets explode, Ningyu's lips twitched uncontrollably. The mother and child bracelets were heaven upper grade, devouring Dharma treasures. How could the first prince give them up just like that? A well-fed man does not know the hunger of a starving man. Look, something exploded. It looks like a magic treasure, and it's a heaven-grade one. What? A heaven-grade magic treasure exploded? Who would waste such a precious treasure? That magic treasure came from the Zhang family's courtyard. If I'm not wrong, it's very likely to be Ningyu. Ningyu? That's not possible. Just now, the red-robed man's strength suddenly decreased, causing them to be at a disadvantage against the Zhang family. If it really is Ningyu, he must be Ningyu? The last martial artist stopped abruptly halfway through his sentence. His eyes were fixed on a familiar figure that came out of the Zhang family, and his face was full of disbelief. It's Ningyu. Why is he out? Where are the other 5 Yuan Dan realm martial artists and the evil blood guards? I'm not sure, but Ningyu doesn't seem to be at his peak. It's as if his aura is a little weak. Yes, Ningyu's aura is indeed much weaker. When the crowd saw Ningyu come out of the Zhang family, they were all shocked. However, their focus was clearly on Ningyu's aura. Compared to when Ningyu had entered the Zhang family, his aura had dropped by at least 30%, or even more. The sudden drop in his aura made many martial artists curious. What was Ningyu doing in the Zhang family? Hong Mo here. Ignoring the crowd's discussion, Ningyu immediately threw the red devil sword to Hong Mo and entered the battlefield with the soul-severing sword in hand. Ha ha! Ningyu, you're finally out. After receiving the red devil sword, Hong Imo laughed loudly. As if he had been injected with new energy, his combat strength increased by several times. In the blink of an eye, Hong Imo killed 2 evil blood guards. Puff, puff, puff. On the other side, Ningyu was unstoppable. Every time he attacked, an evil blood guard would be killed. The evil blood guards were only early Yuan Dan realm martial artists. Even though Ningyu's strength had dropped significantly, the evil blood guards were still no match for him. Seeing the 5 evil blood guards killed in an instant, the faces of the Zhang family martial artists changed. Are we going to surrender or not? In that instant, the Zhang family only had 1 late Yuan Dan realm martial artist left. His mind raced as he considered whether to surrender or not. After the 5 evil blood guards were killed, there were still 3 evil blood guards and 10 Yuan Dan realm martial artists on his side. With just 3 evil blood guards and 10 Yuan Dan realm martial artists, they would definitely not be able to withstand the attack of Ningyu and the rest. Puff, puff, puff. Chapter 396. Ferocious, Third Elder, quickly think of a way. If this continues, we are likely to be wiped out. The death of the last 3 evil blood guards caused the Zhang family experts to reveal a look of fear. They all placed their hopes on the late Primal Core stage Third Elder. Zhang Bin was seriously injured, and it was unknown whether he could survive. Grand Elder Zhang Jian was also seriously injured and was equivalent to a cripple. As for Second Elder Zhang Hao, he still hasn't come out of the Zhang family, but from Ningyu's performance, it was very likely that Zhang Hao had died in battle. Having lost 3 pillars of support, the Zhang family experts could only place all their hopes on the Third Elder. Damn it! Hearing the words coming from the surroundings, Zhang Maohai's face was gloomy. As the Third Elder of the Zhang family, he should indeed stand up and save the Zhang family from this crisis. Zhang Maohai knew that it was Zhang Bin, Zhang Hao, and Zhang Jian who colluded with the Corpsine sect. It had nothing to do with the surrounding Zhang family experts. You guys go and bring Zhang Bin and Zhang Jian here. Suddenly, Zhang Maohai clenched his teeth and coldly said, they colluded with the Corpsine sect, which is a heinous crime. Today I, Zhang Maohai, will be a hero and enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. Swish! Zhang Maohai's words caused the surroundings to fall into a brief silence. The onlookers all looked at Zhang Maohai with their mouths slightly open, their faces full of disbelief. Voila! After a brief silence, bursts of exclamations burst out from the surroundings. Is Zhang Maohai stupid? He wants to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens? Didn't you hear what he said? Zhang Bin and Zhang Jian colluded with the Corpsine sect. The implication is that he didn't collude with the Corpsine sect. He didn't collude with the Corpsine sect? Who would believe that? That's right. As the Third Elder of the Zhang family, I will be the first to not believe that he didn't collude with the Corpsine sect. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it, as long as Ningyu and the others believe it. Hearing this, everyone shifted their gaze to Ningyu, wanting to see how Ningyu would react. In fact, after hearing Zhang Maohai's words, Ningyu was also a little shocked. He felt that Zhang Maohai was acting. It was impossible for the Zhang family to only have 3 people colluding with the Corpsine sect. Ningyu, do you want it? The Red Devil came to Ningyu's side and stretched out his palm to lightly draw a line across his neck. Not at the moment. Let's wait and see. Shaking his head, Ningyu also wanted to see what Zhang Maohai was up to. Humph. You don't even listen to me anymore? In the distance, Zhang Maohai coldly snorted when he saw that the people beside him did not react. He said, since all of you are not going to do anything, I will do it myself. With that, Zhang Maohai pushed through the crowd and came to Zhang Jian and Zhang Bin. Zhang Maohai, what are you doing? Compared to Zhang Bin, Zhang Jian's injury was slightly lighter. Seeing Zhang Maohai's ferocious look, he used all his strength to scold him. Zhang Bin's injuries were more serious. He could only watch as Zhang Maohai walked towards him, unable to speak. What do I want to do? You ignored my advice and insisted on colluding with the Corpsine sect. The Zhang family was almost dragged into the abyss of eternal damnation by you. Zhang Maohai gritted his teeth and said, today, I will do justice on behalf of heaven and get rid of you two scum." With that, Zhang Maohai waved his sleeve, and a silver-white flying sword appeared in his hand. Swish! Swish! Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Zhang Maohai waved the silver-white flying sword and sent out two sword rays. Puff! Puff! The speed of the sword rays was very fast. In the blink of an eye, they were on the necks of Zhang Jian and Zhang Bin. Zhang Maohai. It was not until they died that Zhang Jian and Zhang Bin realized that in front of a strong desire to live, some people could do anything. Buzz! Zhang Maohai's sudden attack was completely unexpected. Even Ning Yu was a little surprised. The two experts of the Zhang family, Zhang Bin of the early yin-yang stage and Zhang Jian of the peak primal core stage, were killed just like that. It's far more than that. If I'm not wrong, Zhang Hao must also be dead, and he died in the hands of Ning Yu. Zhang Maohai is really bold. I originally thought he was just saying it, but I didn't expect him to really do it. Bold? He is shirking responsibility. If he didn't do this, Ning Yu would be the first to kill him. Since he did this, Ning Yu won't let him go, right? After all, such a ruthless person will sooner or later be a scourge. Let's wait and see. After killing Zhang Jian and Zhang Bin, Zhang Maohai put away the silver-white flying sword and walked toward Ning Yu step by step. After a moment, Zhang Maohai arrived in front of Ning Yu and stood still. Ning Yu, the two people who colluded with the corpse sect have been killed by me. I hope you can let the rest of the Zhang family go. Zhang Maohai said in a deep voice. You want me to let them go? How can you prove that they didn't collude with the corpse sect? Ning Yu cupped his fists and stared at Zhang Maohai with interest. Come with me. I'll take you to a place. Zhang Maohai said, There, you will know whether they colluded with the corpse sect or not. With that, Zhang Maohai took the lead and walked toward the Zhang family. After pondering for a moment, Ning Yu winked at Hong Mo and immediately followed Zhang Maohai into the Zhang family. What are they going to do? I don't know. Is Zhang Maohai going to make a move on Ning Yu? How is that possible? Zhang Maohai is only a late primal core stage warrior. He is no match for Ning Yu. Acting so mysterious, what can't be said here? Ning Yu didn't know the discussion of these warriors. After entering the Zhang family, Zhang Maohai led him around and finally stopped in front of a heavy stone door. Ning Yu, this is the second forbidden area of the Zhang family. Insert the key you got from Zhang Bin and open the stone door. Zhang Maohai pointed to a keyhole in the stone door and said, The second forbidden area? Ning Yu was stunned and somewhat puzzled. How could there be a second forbidden area in the Zhang family? What was in this forbidden area? Then again, he didn't even enter the first forbidden area. At that time, Zhang Hao took him to the forbidden area to find Su Jinfu, but who would have thought that they would meet Su Jinfu halfway, causing him to not enter the first forbidden area? Perhaps seeing Ning Yu's doubts, Zhang Maohai explained, The first forbidden area is rich in Yuan Qi, and it is Zhang Bin's private forbidden area. No one can enter without his permission. This forbidden area is different. Then, Zhang Maohai pointed to the forbidden area in front of him and said, To be precise, it is the Zhang family's treasure house. All the treasures of the Zhang family are hidden inside. In the beginning, this forbidden area was open to all warriors above the primal core stage. But after he colluded with the warriors of the corpse sect, he changed the stone door. Now, only his key can open this forbidden area. If you still don't believe me, I can make a heavenly oath. Seeing that Ning Yu still didn't believe him, Zhang Maohai forced out a drop of blood and threw it above his head. Chi. Chapter 397. Chapter 397. Zhang Clan's treasury fine. I'll open the stone door and see what you're up to. The heavenly oath had a strong, binding force on a cultivator. Since Zhang Maohai had made the heavenly oath, what he said should not be far from the truth. Taking a step back, Ning Yu took out the key he got from Zhang Bin and threw it at the stone door. Kacha! As soon as the key was inserted into the keyhole, the stone door made a clicking sound. Creak! Following that, a deep sound rang out and the stone door slowly opened. Whoosh! After the stone door opened, Ning Yu felt a thick, cold air hit him in the face. The last time I came to this forbidden area was a month ago. Standing in front of the stone door, Zhang Maohai closed his eyes and sighed. Stop wasting time and go in quickly. Ningyu kicked Zhang Maohai's, but said in a deep voice, I don't have much time to waste with you here. I'll go in now. Urged by Ningyu, Zhang Maohai quickly opened his eyes and walked in. Ningyu followed behind Zhang Maohai with high concentration, not daring to slack off in the slightest. From the outside, this forbidden area was just a narrow room. But after entering, it suddenly opened up. I didn't expect it to be so big inside, and it's divided into 2 floors. Ningyu split a part of his perception to pay close attention to Zhang Maohai's movements. Then his eyes moved around the room. On the first floor of the room, there was a row of shelves on both sides, and there were many treasures on the shelves. However, the grades of these treasures were not too high. The highest grade was only Earth rank inferior grade. Earth rank inferior grade treasures were no longer of any use to Ningyu. Even if he sold them, he would not be able to get many crystals. Thump, thump, thump. Just as Ningyu was looking around, Zhang Maohai went straight to the second floor. Ningyu retracted his gaze and followed. As they got closer to the second floor, Ningyu's brows furrowed more and more. In the end, even his expression became very solemn. Corpse Inchi. This was because Ningyu's keen sense of smell detected a familiar scent. This scent came from the energy of corpses. That's right, it's the corpse Inchi. Zhang Maohai stopped at the entrance to the second floor. He pointed at the dark green barrier in front of him and said, This entrance has been sealed by the Corpsine sect. What are you trying to say? Ningyu frowned. Now that things have come to this, I have nothing to hide. I'll tell you everything. Zhang Maohai said slowly. A month ago, Zhang Bin called all the Zhang family's Yuan dance stage martial artists here and gave each of them a medicinal pill. Zhang Bin lied to them, saying that the pill could raise their cultivation by a level. Out of trust in Zhang Bin, they swallowed the pill without hesitation. Who would have thought that the pill was obtained by Zhang Bin from the Corpsine sect? It was the heart-devouring pill. Heart-devouring pill. Hearing this, Ningyu's heart trembled, and he revealed a look of disbelief. The heart-devouring pill was an extremely vicious medicinal pill. After taking it, every 7 days the whole body would be in pain, especially the heart, which was unbearable. If one wanted to relieve the pain, they would need to take a medicinal pill. Otherwise, people with weak willpower would not be able to endure the pain. Lu Wei also swallowed the heart-devouring pill. There were only 3 days left until the first time the heart-devouring pill would take effect. Every 7 days, Zhang Bin will give us a medicinal pill. There's still 3 days before the next time the heart-devouring pill takes effect. Zhang Maohai continued. The pain when the heart-devouring pill takes effect becomes more and more intense. If there is no medicinal pill this time, many people will not be able to endure it. You mean, you want me to break this Yin-Chi barrier and take out the medicinal pill for you? Ningyu asked hesitantly. The medicinal pill can be left with you as long as you give us one every 7 days. Hearing that there was hope, Zhang Maohai quickly said, In the future, we will submit to you. If you ask us to go east, we will never go west. You step back, I will try to see if I can break this Yin-Chi barrier. Ningyu waved his hand and signaled Zhang Maohai to step back. After knowing that there was an antidote for the heart-devouring pill inside, Ningyu's mind became active. Lu Wei was also affected by the heart-devouring pill. Although she could rely on the medicinal pill to relieve the pain, it was not a long-term solution. After 49 days, the effect of the medicinal pill would be reduced by half. At that time, Lu Wei would not be able to endure the pain. Therefore, Ningyu planned to break the Yin-Chi barrier and see if he could find the antidote for the heart-devouring pill inside. Hearing Ningyu's words, Zhang Maohai hurriedly took a few steps back. After thinking about it, he was still a little worried and retreated to the first floor. Solitaire. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu took out the broken soul sword and slashed out a sword wave. Chi-Chi. However, when the sword wave came into contact with the Yin-Chi barrier, a Chi-Chi sound exploded and disappeared. Huh? This Yin-Chi barrier has the ability to devour? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and felt that it was a little unbelievable. This was the first time he saw that the Yin-Chi could be devoured. Revolving palm. Since solitaire could not break the Yin-Chi barrier, Ningyu kept the broken soul sword and threw out a palm. Chi. The result was no surprise. The palm print that he threw out was devoured by the Yin-Chi barrier again. After 2 consecutive failures, Ningyu fell into deep thought. All right. Suddenly, Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and his face lit up. In the next moment, he moved his mind and took out the Dead Soul's vortex that he obtained from Su Jinfu. Go! Ningyu shouted in a low voice, and the Dead Spirit vortex rushed towards the corpse Yin-Chi barrier. Although the Yin-Chi barrier had the ability to devour, the Dead Soul's vortex was specialized in restraining Yin-Chi. As long as Yin-Chi came into contact with it, it would be absorbed. Whoosh! As Ningyu had expected, when the Yin-Chi barrier saw the Dead Soul's vortex, it was like a son seeing his father. Not long after, the Yin-Chi barrier was completely absorbed by the Dead Soul's vortex. Come back. Seeing that the Yin-Chi barrier was broken, Ningyu waved his palm and summoned the Dead Soul's vortex to his side. Ningyu revealed an excited expression as he sensed the majestic corpse Yin-Chi in the Death Soul vortex. With so much Yin-Chi, after the Dead Soul's vortex transformed, it could at least be turned into a powerful Dead Soul Chi. However, Ningyu's control over the Dead Soul's vortex had not reached its peak yet. Therefore, he cannot transform the Yin-Chi into Dead Soul Chi immediately. Keep the Dead Soul's vortex first and let it transform slowly. After keeping the Dead Soul's vortex, Ningyu entered the second floor first. When Zhang Maohai, who was on the first floor, saw this, he hurriedly leaped up and charged into the second floor. Low-grade heaven rank flying sword. Low-grade heaven rank spatial ring. High-grade earth rank martial skill. Earth rank. He'd only just entered the second floor when Ningyu was shocked speechless by everything before his eyes. There are truly too many treasures here. Magic treasures, medicinal pills, martial skills, mental cultivation techniques, everything that one could wish for was here. Chapter 398. Boom. Xiao. Just when Ningyu was shocked by the many magic treasures and pills, Zhang Maohai raised his speed to the limit and rushed past him. Kacha. Zhang Maohai stopped in front of the counter, raised his right hand, and smashed it down. A crisp sound rang out as the counter in front of Zhang Maohai was smashed into pieces. After the counter was smashed, Zhang Maohai quickly picked up a jade bottle that fell to the ground with a happy expression. Looking at the jade bottle in Zhang Maohai's hand, Ningyu frowned and asked, "The antidote for the heart-devouring pill?" Hearing Ningyu's words, the joy on Zhang Maohai's face instantly disappeared and was replaced with a serious expression. Clenching his teeth, Zhang Maohai handed the jade bottle in his hand to Ningyu and said, "This is not the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. It is just a pill to relieve our pain. As for the antidote for the heart-devouring pill, it is said to be in the hands of the Yin Corpse sect." After taking the jade bottle, Ningyu separated a bit of his soul force to check it. After a while, Ningyu threw the jade bottle to Zhang Maohai. Are you sure you want to give them to me?" Zhang Maohai's face was full of disbelief. In his opinion, if Ningyu had the jade bottle, he would have something to rely on to restrain them. If they wanted to live, they had to listen to Ningyu's orders. "It's just a few pills. Even if I give them to you, you won't be able to completely remove the heart-devouring pill from your body." Shrugging, Ningyu said, "The heart-devouring pill is very overbearing. Unless you find a real antidote, you won't be able to last long." With that, Ningyu ignored Zhang Maohai and began to wander around. There were a lot of magic treasures and pills here. Ningyu did not refuse any of them. He put them all into his storage bag and planned to send them to the auction house. Seeing Ningyu looting the magic treasures like a tornado, Zhang Maohai's mouth couldn't help but twitch a few times. After the trouble caused by Ningyu, the Zhang family in Ivory City would need at least a few decades to make a comeback. Suddenly, Ningyu stopped at the corner of a shelf. Branches? Picking up a small branch from the shelf, Ningyu wondered, it doesn't make sense for the Zhang family's treasury to keep a branch. Following this, Ningyu released a wisp of his soul power, wanting to enter the tree branch. However, No matter how hard he tried, his soul power could only linger on the surface of the branch and could not enter. Ding! Seeing that, Ningyu took out the broken soul sword and slashed at the tree branch. A crisp sound rang out as the absolute soul sword bounced back. The numbness that came from a web between his thumb and forefinger caused Ningyu's heart to tremble, and he was shocked in his heart. This branch is definitely not an ordinary item. After thinking about it, Ningyu placed the branch at his heart. Such a hard branch might be able to save his life in the future. Apart from this small branch that was special, the other magic treasures and elixirs were also ordinary and did not attract Ningyu's interest, so he put them all into his storage bag. After looting all the magic treasures and elixirs here, Ningyu said to Zhang Maohai, "I'll believe you this once and keep your life for now. If I find out that you dare to collude with the corpse sect again, you won't be so lucky." With that said, Ningyu walked towards the first floor. Seeing Ningyu's back, Zhang Maohai was a little stunned. Very quickly, he reacted and appeared in front of Ningyu in a flash. He hurriedly said, "Ningyu, you can't leave us in the lurch. I and the 10 Yuan Dan realm martial artists of the Zhang family have all swallowed the heart-devouring pill. Without the antidote, we won't live long." Ningyu stopped and said indifferently, "What does it have to do with me that you won't live long?" Ningyu is not a saint. The life and death of Zhang Maohai and the others had nothing to do with him. Besides, even if he wanted to help Zhang Maohai and the others, he needed to refine the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. The heart-devouring pill was a 7th grade elixir, so the antidote was naturally also a 7th grade elixir. With his current peak 5th grade soul force, it was almost impossible for him to refine the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. Hearing this, Zhang Maohai was also a little embarrassed. The Zhang family colluded with the corpse insect. Although it wasn't his fault, it was his fault that he didn't report it to the royal family. "Ningyu, I can make another heavenly oath. As long as you can give me the antidote for 11 heart-devouring pills, the Zhang family of Ivory City will follow your lead from now on." Zhang Maohai seemed to have made a big decision. He gritted his teeth and said, "Although the Zhang family of Ivory City has suffered heavy losses, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. For now on, we could be your backup and provide you with a steady stream of cultivation resources." Not a good choice. Ningyu frowned and said, "The antidote for the heart-devouring pill is a 7th grade elixir. I can't guarantee that I can get it, but I promise you that as long as I can get it, the extra elixirs will be left for you." Although Ningyu couldn't refine the antidote himself, Sun Jiangwen was a 7th grade elixir master. He could definitely refine the antidote. Anyway, Ningyu had asked Sun Jiangwen to refine the antidote sooner or later, so he might as well promise Zhang Maohai first. After all, having another family as backup could save him a lot of trouble. Thank you. Fearing that Ningyu would go back on his word, Zhang Maohai immediately forced out a drop of blood and made another heavenly oath. "The elixirs in the jade bottle can last you for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you could go to the capital to find me." After glancing at Zhang Maohai, Ningyu rose from the ground and quickly flew out. After Ningyu left, Zhang Maohai breathed a sigh of relief and thought that it was a close call. If he hadn't been quick-witted and brought Ningyu here, then his life would definitely be in danger. Now, not only did he get Ningyu's forgiveness, but he also had a chance to get the antidote for the heart-devouring pill. It was really the best of both worlds. It was just that he didn't know how hopeful Ningyu was to get the antidote for the heart-devouring pill, so Zhang Maohai made up his mind to leave for the capital after a week, at the same time, in front of the Zhang family's house. Ningyu and Zhang Maohai have been gone for so long. Why haven't they come back yet? Could it be that Zhang Maohai has a trump card that he didn't show and trapped Ningyu in the Zhang family? It's possible. After all, Zhang Maohai is the 3rd elder of the Zhang family. It's Ningyu. While everyone was talking, a figure rushed out of the Zhang family's courtyard and landed in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. This figure was none other than Ningyu, who entered the Zhang family with Zhang Maohai. "Ningyu is out. Where's Zhang Maohai? Is there need to ask?" Zhang Maohai must have been killed by Ningyu. It can't be. If Ningyu wanted to kill Zhang Maohai, he would have done it long ago. Why would he wait until now? Swoosh. In the next moment, Zhang Maohai also rushed out of the Zhang family, dispelling everyone's doubts. However, Zhang Maohai's performance made everyone a little confused. Because Zhang Maohai stood respectfully behind Ningyu. That expression was like Ningyu's attendant. Ho Qingshun, how's the evacuation of Yang Kuan's people? Ignoring the strange looks of the surrounding martial artists, Ningyu asked Ho Qingshun. Ho Qingshun didn't dare to be negligent and said, when you entered the Zhang family, Yang Kuan sent a message saying that all the residents around the ivory tower have been evacuated, even if rumble. Chapter 399. The ivory tower explodes. What's going on? This sound seems to be coming from the ivory square. Ivory square? What happened there? Why did it suddenly explode? I don't know the specifics, but when I passed by there today, I saw a few martial artists sitting at the entrance of the ivory tower. I don't know what they are doing. Could it be that the ivory tower exploded? Impossible. The ivory tower has stood for so many years. How could it explode just like that? Because the Zhang family was quite far from the ivory square, the sound of the explosion was much weaker here, so it didn't cause panic. On the contrary, they were discussing and guessing with great interest. Ho Qingshun immediately informed Yang Kuan to expand the evacuation area. Others didn't know why the explosion happened, but Ningyu knew very well. It must be because the barrier of the ivory square had shrunk to a certain limit, causing the old man on the 10th floor of the ivory tower to fight with the 5 branch palace masters of the corpse sect. In other words, the explosion just now was the sound of the barrier being squeezed to a certain limit. Hong Yamo, follow me to the ivory square. Ningyu first instructed Ho Qingshun. Then he rose from the ground and flew towards the ivory square. Hong Yamo also knew the seriousness of the problem, so he didn't dare to be negligent and quickly followed behind Ningyu. Voila! After Ningyu left, the surrounding people were in an uproar. Let Yang Kuan evacuate the crowd? Why do we need to evacuate the crowd? Ho Qingshun is the strongest person in the city lord's mansion. Will he listen to Ningyu's order? It's hard to say. Ningyu is so powerful. Let's also go to the ivory square to see what happened Dong. At this moment, Ho Qingshun took a step forward, and his cold eyes swept across the crowd. Then, Ho Qingshun said coldly, "Don't go anywhere." Sun Xing. Yes, Sun Xing replied. Surround this place for me. Without my permission, don't let a fly go. Ho Qingshun said in a deep voice. Sun Xing more or less knew some inside information. So, when Ho Qingshun ordered him, he immediately sealed the area. All members of the Zhang clan, heed my command. Follow Sun Xing and surround the area. Zhang Maohai knew that his chance to shine had come. There is nothing wrong with befriending Ningyu at this time. At the same time, Ningyu wrapped his vital qi around his legs and rushed to the ivory square at full speed. Sun Jiangwen, what's going on over there? Ningyu communicated with Sun Jiangwen as he advanced, hoping to get first-hand information. They started fighting. Suddenly, several peak experts rushed out from the ivory tower and started fighting with Dan Masterhall Master and the others. At this moment, Sun Jiangwen was like a clay bodhisattva crossing the river, unable to protect himself. His opponent was a huge golden lion. Although the lion's cultivation was not very high, its combat power was very strong, and it was able to suppress him. Who has the upper hand now? Ningyu asked anxiously. The expert from the ivory tower has the upper hand. The alchemist hall master and the others won't be able to hold on for much longer. Sun Jiangwen said gravely as he forced the golden lion king back with a single move. Hongamo, speed up. Hearing Sun Jiangwen's words, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly sped up. The life and death of the alchemist hall master and the others had nothing to do with him, but Sun Jiangwen couldn't die. Sun Jiangwen was a peak 7th grade alchemist and the key person in refining the heart-devouring pills antidote. If Sun Jiangwen died, the consequences would be unimaginable. After flying at full speed for 3 minutes, Ningyu and Hong Imo finally arrived near the ivory square. At this time, the ivory square was in a mess. The surrounding houses were in ruins, and there were few intact rooms. Fortunately, Yang Kuan had evacuated the surrounding houses. Otherwise, who knew how many people would have died? However, as soon as Ning Yu and Hong Mo arrived, they saw the alchemist hall master and the others falling backward like kites with their strings cut. Puff, 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 puff. Each of them coughed out a mouthful of blood. Their expressions were extremely ugly. They didn't expect that the gray-robed old man in front of them would be so powerful. It was completely beyond their expectations. The 5 Corpse-Een sect branch hall masters working together couldn't defeat the gray-robed old man. One had to know that the gray-robed old man's cultivation was only at the peak of the yin-yang stage. Let's go. Since they were no match for the gray-robed old man, the alchemist hall master and the others didn't want to continue fighting. They immediately tore the void and fled. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Seeing that the alchemist hall master and the others tore the void, the gray-robed old man grabbed the void with both hands, and suddenly a cold light appeared. After the cold light appeared, it followed the alchemist hall master and the others into the void at an extremely shocking speed. Old fart. We will take revenge sooner or later. Not long after, a scream came from the void, and then the crack in the void slowly closed. Let's go. Glancing at Ning Yu at the edge of the ivory square, the gray-robed old man waved his palm in front of him, and in an instant, a crack appeared in the void. Immediately, the gray-robed old man was the first to enter the crack. After the gray-robed old man entered the crack, the rest of the cultivators that appeared from the ivory tower also entered the crack and disappeared in the blink of an eye. However, after the gray-robed old man disappeared, a voice sounded in Ning Yu's mind. The ivory tower will explode later. You'd better leave Ivory City as soon as possible. By the way, now that the 5 Corpse-Een sect branch hall masters have been seriously injured, the Times Square Tower will guide you to them. But remember, you only have 3 days. The Times Square Tower. Ning Yu's mind moved. He thought of what the gray-robed old man had said to him not long ago and quickly took out the Times Square Tower. On the side of the Times Square Tower, there was a very dazzling red light. This red light should be where the alchemist hall master and the others are. Ning Yu murmured. At this moment, Hong Mo said anxiously, Ning Yu, leave quickly. If you delay any longer, it will be too late. I can feel that the ivory tower is about to explode. Go. Hearing this, Ning Yu's expression changed. He quickly put away the Times Square Tower and was about to rush out of Ivory City. Ning Yu, you can't leave me alone. Before Ning Yu could move, Sun Jiangwen flew over and said with a sad face, Damn it. Cursing, Ning Yu took out his storage ring and put Sun Jiangwen in it. Then he used his speed to the limit and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Rumble. Shortly after Ning Yu disappeared, a terrifying explosion sounded in this area. At this moment, the ivory tower that had stood in Ivory City for many years completely exploded and shattered. The explosion of the ivory tower caused a terrible shockwave to spread in all directions. Chi-Chi, before the terrifying shockwave left Ivory Square, it seemed to have hit a barrier and quickly dissipated between heaven and earth. Whoosh, whoosh. Not long after, 2 figures rushed in from outside Ivory City and appeared in the sky above Ivory Square in the blink of an eye. If Ning Yu was here, he would definitely find one of the 2 figures very familiar to him. Chapter 400. Chapter 400. Chapter 400 Pursuit. One step too late. Next to the first prince, an old man dressed in black frowned slightly. Looking at the dilapidated ivory tower, he mumbled, The ivory tower has been destroyed. Senior Mo Xing, who has such great ability to destroy even an ivory tower. The first prince asked doubtfully. The ivory tower was a landmark of the great Xia kingdom, and it had an extremely tough defense. The eldest prince was very confused. Who on earth had the ability to destroy the ivory tower without destroying the Ivory City? If I'm not wrong, it wasn't an external force that destroyed the ivory tower. Frowning slightly, the old man who was addressed as Senior Mo Xing said, The ivory tower exploded from the inside. It exploded from the inside? Hearing Mo Xing's words, the first prince was stunned, and then he seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, "Doesn't that mean that the destruction of the ivory tower was done by the people in the ivory tower?" That's a possibility. However, we still need to discuss the specifics. Nodding her head, Mo Xing said, "Let's head to the city lord's residence now. We must clarify this matter." Senior Mo Xing, before going to the city lord's manor, "I would like to pay a visit to the Zhang clan," the first prince said hesitantly. "Zhang clan? Why are you going there?" Mo Xing asked. "I have some matters to settle. You can go to the city lord's mansion first. Once I'm done, I'll go there immediately." With that, the first prince rose from the ground and flew toward the Zhang clan. Mo Xing shook his head in bewilderment. Thus, he turned around and rushed to the city lord manor. Buzz! After Mo Xing and the first prince disappeared, the space above Ivory Square surged, and an old man appeared. After the old man appeared, he first looked at the shattered ivory tower, then released his perception power, probing the area. After a while, the old man withdrew his perception. Not long ago, Ningyu appeared in this area. Now, he should have left Ivory City. The old man took a deep breath and said with a serious expression, "Not only is there Ningyu's aura here, but there is also the aura of the corpse sect." After confirming the location, the old man tore open the void and disappeared. Ningyu did not know what was happening in Ivory Square. At this moment, he was with the Red Fiend, advancing at full speed according to the guidance of the Times Square Tower. The 5 Corpse In Sect Branch Palace Masters were seriously injured, so now was the best time to kill them. Ningyu naturally didn't want to miss this opportunity. In order to catch up to the Alchemist Hall Master and the others, Ningyu did not hesitate to burn his Yuan Qi to increase his speed. Ningyu, the Alchemist Hall Master, and the others seemed to be fleeing in the direction of Wuta City. The Red Fiend did not waste any energy. Instead, it entered the Red Fiend's sword and was carried by Ningyu. As he did not have to desperately increase his speed like Ningyu, the Red Fiend could focus all his attention on the Alchemist Hall Master and the others. Wuta City, hearing this, Ningyu was startled and immediately glanced at the Times Square Pagoda. Ningyu was shocked by what he saw. The direction the Alchemist Hall Master and the others were heading in was precisely the direction of Wuta City. Could it be that Wuta City was the Corpse In Sect's lair? Thinking of this, Ningyu's expression changed greatly. If Wuta City was the Corpse In Sect's lair, then he could not follow them there. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Right, I can ask Sun Jiangwen. Suddenly, Ningyu's mind moved, and he communicated with Sun Jiangwen. Wuta City is not the Corpse In Sect's lair. It's just an ordinary foothold, Sun Jiangwen said. Hearing Sun Jiangwen's words, Ningyu was slightly relieved. Since it was not the lair, then there was no problem. Even if he chased them to Wuta City, it was not a big deal. However, Sun Jiangwen's next words made Ningyu have the urge to vomit blood. Although Wuta City is just a foothold, there are a lot of powerhouses inside. There are 5 Yin-Yang realm martial artists. There is even a middle stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist. Sun Jiangwen did not dare to lie and told him everything. F***CK. If they were not flying at full speed, Ningyu even wanted to slap Sun Jiangwen. Not only did he not say it all at once, but he also said it half by half. Hong Mo, move forward at full speed. We must catch up with the Alchemist Temple Master and the others before they reach Wuta City. Clenching his fists, the Yuan Qi in Ningyu's 4 illusory gold cores surged, and his speed doubled again. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If he missed this opportunity, there would not be another one. Once the Alchemist Temple Master and the others escaped to Wuta City, it would be very difficult to kill them again. 5 Yin-Yang realm martial artists, and one of them was in the middle stage Yin-Yang realm. With such strength, even if Ningyu advanced to the peak of the true martial realm, he would not be their match. Therefore, Ningyu secretly made up his mind to catch up with the Alchemist Temple Master and the others when they escaped to Wuta City. Pucci, When Ningyu chased after the Alchemist Temple Master and the others at full speed, the Alchemist Temple Master and the others suddenly jumped out of the void. Damn it, Alchemist Temple Master, it's all your fault. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, the Ghost Talent Temple Master said angrily, "How can you blame me for this? It's that old fart who is too powerful. We all fell into his trap." The Alchemist Temple Master's face was gloomy as he said in a deep voice, you still say it's not your fault. If we had the body explosion pill, we would have long blasted the entrance of the ivory tower open. The Ghost Talent Temple Master snorted coldly. Enough. The Ghost Talent Temple Master had not finished speaking when the Martial Force Temple Master said coldly, "What's the use of quarreling now? Now that things have come to this, we should quickly find a place to recuperate, lest something unexpected happens." The Martial Force Temple Master is right. This place is not far from Wutuwa City. In my opinion, we should go to Wutuwa City to hide. The Spirit Corpse Temple Master echoed. Wutuwa City is the Alchemist Temple's foothold. I won't go. If you want to go, you guys go. The Ghost Talent Temple Master said gloomily. I have already contacted the Ghost Talent Temple's Gui. He will rush here soon. Nonsense. The Martial Force Temple Master berated. Gui is carrying out a mission in the capital. If you call him over now, it will easily expose his identity. Quickly contact him and ask him to return to the capital. Gui has already arrived at Wutuwa City. I'm afraid it's inappropriate to ask him to return now, right? Although the Ghost Talent Temple Master was domineering, he did not dare to act rashly in front of the Martial Force Temple Master. What's inappropriate about it? The plan to attack the Ivory Tower has failed. If the plan to attack the capital fails as well, you should know the consequences. At this moment, the Martial Force Temple Master spoke indifferently and did not continue to lose his temper. All right, I will contact him right now and ask him to return to the capital. The Martial Force Temple Master did not lose his temper. Instead, it caused the Ghost Talent Temple Master's heart to jerk. He knew that the Martial Force Temple Master's expression meant that he was on the verge of exploding with rage. The Martial Force Temple Master waved his hand. He was just about to give a few instructions when his expression changed drastically and he retreated explosively. How about this? The Alchemist Temple Master and I have suffered lighter injuries. We will stay here to guard the rear. The three of you go to Wutuwa City first. Retreat. Swoosh. When he retreated, a sword wave approached from afar and appeared at the place he was standing just now. Bang! The sword wave slashed on the ground, creating a huge hole in the ground. Chapter 401. Chapter 401. Introduction. A preliminary fight. It's you. Seeing the figure that suddenly appeared, the Alchemist Hall Master's expression changed. He said coldly, "Weren't you trapped in the City Lord's Mansion's secret chamber? Why are you here?" This figure was none other than Ningyu. Under the guidance of the Times Square Pagoda, Ningyu moved forward at full speed. It did not take him long to catch up with the Hall Master of Alchemy and the others. Hearing the Alchemist Hall Master's words, Ningyu folded his arms across his chest and smiled. "As for why I am here, you'll have to ask the people from the Ghost Town Hall." Ghost Town Hall? The leader of the Alchemy Hall was taken aback. He then shifted his gaze towards the leader of the Ghost Town Hall. Being stared at by the Hall Master Alchemist, the eyes of the Ghost Talent Hall Master flickered, and his face darkened. Since Ningyu was here, it meant that Gui Air had failed. Trash. Truly trash. Gui Air can't even handle such a small matter properly. Gui Kai Palace Master said fiercely. Ningyu, don't try to sow discord between us. The Martial Force Hall Master said coldly as he took a step forward. Shrugging, Ningyu said, "You've all suffered heavy injuries. Do you want to surrender, or do I have to beat you into surrendering?" Ha ha ha. As if he had heard the funniest joke in the world, the Martial Hall Master let out a wild laugh towards the sky. Soon after, he coldly said, You're just a martial artist in the late stage of the true martial realm. Even if my injuries were doubled, killing you would still be as easy as flipping my hand. Exactly, Even a martial artist in the late stage of the true martial realm dares to be so arrogant. Why don't you take a piss and look at your own reflection? The Ghost Talent Palace Master proudly said. As soon as he finished speaking, the Ghost Talent Palace Master rose from the ground and dashed towards Ningyu. Palace Master Gue, Kai had a plan in mind. He was afraid that Ningyu would tell the Alchemist Palace Master about Gue Air, so he wanted to kill Ningyu as soon as possible, to prevent any unforeseen events from happening again. Just in time, looking at the approaching Gue Kai Palace Master, Ningyu did not retreat. Instead, he attacked with a backhand punch. Bang! When the two fists collided, the Ghost Talent Palace Master's complexion changed dramatically, and he hastily retreated. However, the intense pain from his fist caused Gue Air to grimace in pain. He wanted to curse out loud. Now that he was heavily injured, the power that he could exert was limited, and he was only equivalent to an early Primal Core practitioner. Originally, he had thought that the power of an early Primal Core practitioner would be enough to kill Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu would be so abnormal? Ningyu's attack, just now, was already infinitely close to the peak of Primal Core. Palace Master Gue Kai, let me help you. Seeing the Ghost Talent Palace Master retreat, the Een Energy Palace Master's figure flashed and blocked Ningyu's path. Shio! With a flick of his sleeve, a wisp of gas flew toward Ningyu. Corpse Een Shi. Ningyu is very sensitive to Corpse Een Shi. When the Een Shi Hall Master waved his sleeves, he acutely noticed the Corpse Een Shi in the Een Shi Hall Master's sleeves. However, this wisp of Corpse Een Shi was obviously not a threat to Ningyu. Ningyu took out the Broken Soul Sword and immediately slashed out a sword ray. Chi-Chi! The sword ray and the Corpse Een Shi collided, and unsurprisingly, the Corpse Een Shi dissipated from the sword ray. Damn it! If I hadn't been seriously injured, I could have killed you with a casual strike. Seeing that the Corpse Een Shi that he had used was easily dispersed by the sword ray, the Een Energy Palace Master's face turned livid, and he gritted his teeth in anger. As the Palace Master of the Een Energy Palace of the Corpse Sect, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? It was fine if he was defeated by the old man in the Ivory Tower. After all, that old man was at the peak of Yin Yang Realm. Now that he had been defeated by Ningyu, he could not accept it. It was as if he had eaten *T. After all, Ningyu is only a martial artist at the late stage of the real martial realm. Even if he had been seriously injured, he could not afford to lose face. Alchemist Palace Master, I will stall Ningyu with the Spirit Corpse Palace Master. You should quickly recover. As long as you recover 30% of your strength, killing Ningyu will be as easy as killing a dog. After the Een Energy Palace Master and the Ghost Talent Palace Master were defeated consecutively, the Martial Palace Master finally could not take it anymore. He first gave the order, then together with the Spirit Corpse Palace Master, rushed towards Ningyu. Hong Mo. Compared to the Ghost Talent Palace Master and the Een Energy Palace Master, the Martial Palace Master was much stronger. After all, he was at the late stage of the Yin Yang realm, while the Ghost Talent Palace Master and the Een Energy Palace Master were only at the middle stage of the Yin Yang realm. To be precise, the Martial Palace Master still had the strength of the Primal Core realm. Ningyu did not dare to neglect, and quickly called out Hong Mo Swish. Hong Mo was already prepared. Hearing Ningyu's words, he jumped out of the red demon sword and transformed into a man in red. Spiritual body? Looking at the man in red who suddenly appeared beside Ningyu, the Martial Palace Master was slightly stunned. Although he was seriously injured, he still had good eyesight. Naturally, he could see that Hong Mo was a spiritual body. It's not good to be distracted when fighting me. At this moment, Ningyu held the soul-severing sword in his hand and rushed out like a cheetah. Solitaire. He waved the soul-severing sword in his hand and instantly slashed out a sword wave. Buzz! The sword wave was so fast that it even made a buzzing sound as it rubbed against the air. Oh no! The sudden change caused the Martial Palace Master's expression to change slightly, but that was all. As the strongest among the 5 sub-palace masters, he knew that he could not panic. Once he panicked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, after a short moment of shock, the Martial Palace Master bit the bullet and blasted out a palm print, clashing head-on with the sword wave in midair. Swish! However, as soon as the palm print came into contact with the sword wave, it was sliced into two. Then, the sword wave gradually expanded before the Martial Palace Master's eyes and finally landed on his chest. Poochie! The immense force that came from his chest caused the Martial Palace Master to spit out a mouthful of blood. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the Martial Palace Master said grimly, "I didn't expect you to be so powerful. I admit that I have underestimated you. It's not that I'm powerful, but that you guys aren't at your peak condition." Ningyu knew his own strength. If it wasn't for the Elder on the 10th floor of the Ivory Tower, how could he possibly be a match for the Martial Palace Master? In the entire Great Xia Kingdom, he was probably the only one who could defeat a late-stage Yin-Yang Realm cultivator with a cultivation of late-stage true martial realm. Of course, the prerequisite was that the late-stage Yin-Yang Realm cultivator was severely injured, causing his strength to be less than a tenth of his peak condition. "Ningyu, how about we make a deal?" the Martial Palace Master said as he rolled his eyes. "What deal?" Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, "It's very simple. Let us go, and I guarantee that you will be able to do whatever you want in the Great Xia Kingdom." The Martial Palace Master tempted. "That's right. I can even make you the head of the Zhang family." "Become the head of the Zhang family?" Ningyu frowned. "That's right. The Zhang family has already pledged allegiance to the Corpse sect. With my position in the Corpse sect, making you the head of the Zhang family is as easy as flipping your hand." The Martial Palace Master slowly set a trap for Ningyu, trying to lure Ningyu into it. How could Ningyu not know what the Martial Palace Master was thinking? However, he didn't care. In front of absolute strength, no matter what tricks the Martial Palace Master wanted to play, it would all be in vain. Chapter 402. Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple. If I kill all of you here, what kind of impact will it have on the Corpse sect? When Ningyu said this, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple's face instantly darkened. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple was furious. It turned out that Ningyu was not fooled at all. Crack, crack. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple said coldly, "Since you want to die, don't blame me." As soon as he said that, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple took a step back, opened his mouth, and spat out a drop of blood. Chi-Chi. Yuan Chi wrapped around his fingertips, and the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple instantly burned his blood essence. Whoosh! After burning his blood essence, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple recovered from the peak of the Primal Core stage to the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage. Burning my blood essence to increase my strength? The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple's action made Ningyu's heart skip a beat. He vaguely felt that something was wrong. As a peak 9th grade alchemist in his previous life, Ningyu naturally knew how to burn his blood essence to increase his strength. However, this method was very damaging to the body. At best, one's cultivation would drop by a level, and at worst, one would turn into a fool. Therefore, even if Ningyu knew this method, he would not use it unless he had no other choice. Ningyu did not expect the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple to be so cruel to himself. He had already started burning his blood essence before he was at his wit's end. Hong Mo, go deal with the Hall Master of the Alchemy Temple and leave this old man to me. After taking a deep breath, Ningyu said to Hong Mo, "You must do your best and kill them at all costs." Understood. Hong Mo knew the seriousness of the problem. Therefore, as soon as Ningyu's voice fell, he immediately rushed towards the Hall Master of the Alchemy Temple with the red demon sword in his hand. To be able to die in my hands today is the fortune you've accumulated over 8 lifetimes. The Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple did not stop Hong Mo. Instead, he walked towards Ningyu step by step. After his strength had increased to the early stage of the Yin-Yang stage, the Hall Master of the Combat Force Temple felt that killing Ningyu would be as easy as flipping his hand. Underworld dominating palm. Facing the approaching Martial Force Temple Master, Ningyu flicked his wrist and sent out a palm imprint. The netherworld-dominating palm was the fourth style of the netherworld samsara palm. Its power was much weaker than the revolving palm. The reason why Ningyu didn't use the rotating will palm was because he wanted to test the strength of the martial hall master and see how much he had recovered. Crack! However, when the underworld-dominating palm arrived before the martial force hall master, it seemed to have hit some sort of barrier as it shattered. The sudden change caused Ningyu's pupils to constrict slightly, and he revealed an expression of disbelief. Although the might of the underworld tyrant palm was inferior to the netherworld samsara palm, it was still very strong. Now, even a martial hall master couldn't get close to him. Could it be that the martial hall master had recovered to his peak state? Thinking of this, Ningyu's heart sank to the bottom. If the martial force hall master recovered to his peak state, then he would be in grave danger today. Ningyu, the martial force hall master, hasn't recovered to his peak state yet. Right now, he's at the yin-yang initial stage, and he can only maintain it for an hour. After an hour, his strength will drop to the freezing point. At this moment, Sun Jangwen's voice sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing this, Ningyu was stunned at first, but he quickly said, "Sun Jangwen, how did you know? Don't forget, my soul force has reached the peak of the 7th grade. Among the martial artists here, apart from the alchemist hall master, my soul force is the strongest," Sun Jangwen said proudly. In fact, before telling Ningyu this news, Sun Jangwen had made a huge mental struggle. Once he told Ningyu the weakness of the martial force hall master, it would mean that he would completely cut off all ties with the Corpsine sect and follow Ningyu wholeheartedly. However, he had no other choice now, because he was being controlled by Ningyu. If Ningyu was defeated and died, he would also die. Rather than dying with Ningyu, he might as well take a gamble and bet that Ningyu could defeat the martial force hall master and the others. 1 hour, huh? Ningyu's eyes narrowed, and he muttered, "Although the martial force hall master has only recovered to the early stage of the yin-yang stage, his perception and combat experience are very strong. With my current cultivation, it will be difficult for me to last for an hour." Ningyu knew his own strength. He could easily kill an early-stage, yin-yang stage martial artist. However, the martial force hall master was different from ordinary yin-yang stage martial artists. 3 early-stage, yin-yang stage martial artists might not be a match for the martial force hall master. Next, I will let you know what cruelty is. With a cold expression, the martial force hall master rose from the ground, and his body turned into a shadow. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Ningyu. In the next instant, the martial force hall master's right hand brought with it a violent yuan qi gale and fiercely punched at Ningyu's chest. This attack was very powerful. If Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, he would be crippled even if he did not die. At this critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly poured the yuan qi in his sea of consciousness into his palm. Then, he punched out and collided with the martial force hall master's fist. Kacha! When the two fists collided, there was a crisp sound. Then, both Ningyu and the martial force hall master retreated several steps. The martial force hall master retreated 3 steps before stabilizing himself. As for Ningyu, he retreated 10 steps before stabilizing himself. With this exchange, it was clear who had the upper hand. Haha, Ningyu, I will give you one more chance. Surrender, and I will not kill you. After the exchange, the martial force hall master's lips curled up into a smile. You want me to surrender? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Ningyu snorted coldly. Do I have the ability to do so? The martial force hall master pointed at his nose and laughed sinisterly. If I'm not wrong, the bones in your right hand should be broken, right? Right now, you can only display 80% of your peak combat strength at best. You are not my match even at your peak. What do you have to fight me now? Are you that confident? Swinging his slightly swollen right hand, Ningyu said indifferently, "Although your fist is very hard, it is still not enough to break the bones in my right hand." Ningyu was an alchemist. That crisp crack just now had only dislocated his right hand. It had not broken the bones of his right hand. As long as the dislocation of a bone was corrected it would not affect a true martial realm martial artist much. On the other hand, Ningyu stared at the martial force hall master and smiled faintly. Burning your blood essence only allowed you to recover to the early stage of the yin-yang realm. I have to say, this is a kind of tragedy. That's right. Suddenly, Ningyu said, it has been 5 minutes since you burned your blood essence. You still have 55 minutes. What? Hearing Ningyu's words, the martial force hall master's expression changed drastically. He could no longer remain calm. He did not understand how Ningyu knew that the secret technique he used could only last for 1 hour. After all, even the Corpsine sect, only a few people knew about the secret technique he used. Chapter 403. Decisive Execution. What? Looking at the cultivator lying on the ground like a dead dog, the martial force temple master's expression changed drastically. The cultivator on the ground was none other than the Yin Energy Temple Master. The Yin Energy Temple Master and the others were much weaker than the Martial Force Temple Master, so they were naturally no match for Hong Mo. In just 5 minutes, the Red Fiend had killed the Yin Energy Palace Master. Not only that, Hong Mo had also seriously injured the Ghost Talent Temple Master. Spirit Corpse Temple Master, go and help. The Martial Force Temple Master's expression was extremely gloomy as he said to the Spirit Corpse Temple Master, you must buy enough time for the Alchemist Temple Master. Understood. Originally, the Spirit Corpse Temple Master wanted to deal with Ningyu together with the Martial Force Temple Master. However, the Martial Force Temple Master had burned his blood essence to increase his strength, so he did not intervene. Instead, he watched from the side to prevent Ningyu from escaping. Who would have thought that in just 5 minutes, the battlefield in the distance would undergo earth-shattering changes? The Yin Energy Temple Master was killed, and even the Ghost Talent Temple Master was seriously injured. Swoosh! After responding, the Spirit Corpse Temple Master immediately leaped up and charged toward Hong Mo. Hong Mo's performance was somewhat beyond Ningyu's expectations. As the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. In Ningyu's opinion, even if Hong Mo was strong, it would not be easy for him to kill the Alchemist Temple Master and the others in a short period of time. Who would have thought that Hong Mo would not only kill the Yin Energy Temple Master, but also seriously injure the Ghost Talent Temple Master in just 5 minutes? Ignoring the situation on the other side, Ningyu turned to the Martial Force Temple Master and said, how about we make a deal? You're only thinking of making a deal now? It's too late. The Martial Force Temple Master said coldly, the Yin Energy Temple Master has been killed. Just wait for the wrath of the Corpse sect. I think you might have misunderstood me. Ningyu shrugged and said, what I mean is if you join me, I can spare your worthless life. You're courting death. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Martial Force Temple Master's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. In the next moment, he shouted in a low voice, and like a cheetah, he dashed directly towards Ningyu. Revolving Palm. Although the Martial Force Temple Master had not recovered to his peak state, Ningyu did not dare to be negligent. Ningyu quickly formed a seal with both hands and blasted out a palm print in an instant. Buzz! The Revolving Palm was the 5th style of the Netherworld Samsara Palm, and it was extremely powerful. After blasting out the rotating wheel palm, Ningyu secretly separated a wisp of his soul power and charged towards the Martial Force Palace Master at an extremely fast speed. Insignificant tricks. Not good. The Martial Hall Master clearly did not take the palm print seriously as it approached him. However, just as he was about to throw out a punch to block it, a shocked expression appeared in his eyes. Rumble. A cold beam of soul power flew out from Ningyu's sleeve and arrived in front of the palm print in the blink of an eye. When his soul force came into contact with the palm, an earth-shattering explosion resounded throughout the area. The shockwaves of the explosion seemed to have eyes of their own as they surged towards the Martial Force Hall Master. Damn it! Without any time to think, the Martial Force Hall Master immediately gathered the Yuan Qi in his knowledge in front of him and formed a Yuan Qi barrier. Solitaire. After the rotating will palm exploded, Ningyu did not stop. Instead, his eyes turned cold, and the absolute soul sword pierced through the air. A huge sword wave formed, and along with the aftermath of the explosion, it struck the Yuan Qi barrier in front of the martial force temple master. Crack! Puffed. Two consecutive powerful attacks broke the Yuan Qi barrier in front of the martial force hall master. Then, under the martial force hall master's shocked gaze, his chest came into contact with it. The immense force from his chest caused the martial force hall master to grimace in pain and spit out a mouthful of blood. I don't think I need to wait for 55 minutes. I want you dead now. With a move of Ning Yu's knowledge C, four illusory golden cores flew out and floated above his head. You have 4 illusory golden cores? That's impossible. The martial force hall master's eyes widened when he saw the 4 golden cores hovering above Ning Yu's head. His face was filled with disbelief. A late-stage true martial realm martialist had 4 illusory golden cores? The martial force hall master had never seen one before. Among the true martial realm martial artists he knew, let alone 4 virtual golden cores, there was not even a single martial artist who had a single virtual golden core. Noisy, Ning Yu growled impatiently. Immediately, the Yuan Qi in the 4 illusory golden cores frantically poured into the broken soul sword. Chi-chi. As the Yuan Qi was poured in, the broken soul sword even let out a slight tremble. After the Yuan Qi was poured in to the limit, Ning Yu slashed down with the broken soul sword. Whoosh! An extremely terrifying sword beam separated from the broken soul sword and ruthlessly fell on the martial force hall master's head. The sword beam gradually expanded in front of the martial force hall master's eyes. Finally, the martial force hall master was dumbfounded. Pucci! With a successful attack, Ning Yu quickly retreated and looked at the martial force hall master with vigilance. Although the sword beam had landed on the martial force hall master's neck, Ning Yu knew that it would be difficult to kill an expert like the martial force hall master with a single strike. If you have a group of, however, the martial force hall master's performance was somewhat beyond Ning Yu's expectations. The martial force hall master reached out to touch the blood on his neck and pointed at Ning Yu. He wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, he fell to the ground. At this moment, the corpse insect's martial force hall master had died in battle. He died just like that. The sudden death of the martial force hall master was indeed beyond Ning Yu's expectations. The martial force hall master was not weak. How could he be killed in one move? Whoosh! Just as Ning Yu was puzzled by the death of the martial force hall master, a figure rushed out from the storage ring. This figure was a peak 7th grade alchemist, Sun Jiangwen. The moment Ning Yu saw Sun Jiangwen, he immediately understood what had happened. Sun Jiangwen must have used his powerful soul force to suppress the martial force hall master, causing the martial force hall master to be unable to resist. After coming out from the storage ring, Sun Jiangwen hurriedly said, "Ning Yu, we should leave quickly. The martial force hall master has been killed. It won't be long before the surrounding experts of the corpse insect arrive. At that time, it will be too late to leave. We can't leave now. We must kill all 5 sub-hall masters." How could Ning Yu not know about this? However, since the martial force hall master had been killed, he couldn't let the other sub-hall masters go. Suddenly, 2 hysterical screams came from the distance, attracting Ning Yu and Sun Jiangwen's attention. Ghost Talent Hall Master, Spirit Corpse Hall Master. Sun Jiangwen was scared out of his wits. In the distance, the Ghost Talent Hall Master and the Spirit Corpse Hall Master were lying on the ground dead. How long had it been? Including the Martial Force Hall Master, 4 of the 5 sub-hall masters of the corpse insect had been killed. Losing 4 sub-hall masters at once, Sun Jiangwen could imagine how big of a commotion it would cause in the corpse insect. Chapter 404. 2 Inner Demon Pills. There's one more. Compared to Sun Jiangwen, Ning Yu was much less shocked. What Ning Yu cared about was not how many corpse sect branch leaders were killed, but how many were not killed. Ning Yu, I suggest we don't kill the alchemist temple leader. Seeing the look in Ning Yu's eyes, Sun Jiangwen hurriedly said, "This place is very close to Wuta City, and Wuta City is a foothold of the Alchemist Temple. We can control the Alchemist Temple leader and then plunder all the magic treasures and pills in Wuta City." Hearing this, Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and said, "Doesn't Wuta City have an Yinyang intermediate stage martial artist and 4 Yinyang early stage martial artists? Even if we go there, it will be difficult to plunder all the magic treasures and pills, right? This is very simple. As long as we control the Alchemist Temple leader, we won't have to worry about the martial artists in Wuta City not giving in." Sun Jiangwen gritted his teeth and said, "The most important thing is that the Alchemist Temple leader is sinister and cunning. It is very likely that he has already used a secret method to send the news back to the corpse sect. If we kill him, the consequences will be unimaginable." "You mean?" Ning Yu pondered for a moment and said, "We can control the Alchemist Temple leader and make him spread false news?" "Yes." Sun Jiangwen nodded. "It's not impossible, but how should we control him? My soul for strength." "All right." Suddenly, Ning Yu seemed to think of something and hurriedly took out the jade bottle he got from Su Jinfu. Inside the jade bottle, there were 3 black pills. Inner Demon Pill. Originally, Su Jinfu refined the Inner Demon Pill to control the higher-ups of Ivory City. Who would have thought that it would benefit Ning Yu? "Let's go and meet the Alchemist Temple leader." With a smile, Ning Yu walked toward the Alchemist Temple leader. At this time, the Alchemist Temple leader was already under the control of the Red Devil and could not move. Although the Alchemist Hall Master was also a peak late-stage Yinyang realm martial artist, he was much weaker than the Martial Hall Master. Furthermore, the Alchemist Hall Master trusted the Spirit Corpse Hall Master and the others too much. Unexpectedly, the Red Fiend seized the opportunity and completely controlled them. Seeing Ning Yu walking towards him, the Alchemist Hall Master hatefully said, "Ning Yu, I have already sent the news back to the corpse sect. Just wait for your bones to be ground to dust." "I don't know if my bones will be turned to dust. However, if you don't obey me, I will turn your bones to dust right now," said Ning Yu with a smile. "Umph." The Alchemist Hall Master snorted coldly and said, "You want me to submit to you? Don't even think about it. Don't be so stubborn. I have 100 ways to kill you, but I won't do it." Ning Yu shrugged his shoulders, then threw the jade bottle in his hand to the Red Devil and said, "Give the demonic heart pill in the bottle to the Alchemist Hall Master. Let's see if he will still be so stubborn." Demonic heart pill. Looking at the demonic heart pill in Ning Yu's hand, the Alchemist Hall Master's pupil shrank and revealed a look of disbelief. He was the one who asked Su Jinfu to refine the demonic heart pill. Now that the demonic heart pill was in Ning Yu's hands, it meant that Su Jinfu had most likely joined Ning Yu like Sun Jiangwen, or had already died in battle. The Alchemist Hall Master rolled his eyes and said to Sun Jiangwen, "Sun Jiangwen, you should know the consequences of betraying the corpse sect. I will give you a chance to capture Ning Yu. That way, I can plead on your behalf and pardon your sins." "Hall Master, it's too late to say anything now. Right now, Ning Yu is my master. I will not even frown if he asks me to do anything." Sun Jiangwen began to express his stance, afraid that Ning Yu would be suspicious of him. "Alchemist Hall Master, don't waste your energy. Just obediently enjoy the demonic heart pill." Shrugging his shoulders, Ning Yu winked at Hong. Hong. Imo understood and immediately took out a demonic heart pill from a jade bottle. He kicked the Alchemist Hall Master's chest and then threw the demonic heart pill into his mouth. The demonic heart pill melted in his mouth. Before the Alchemist Hall Master could spit it out, the demonic heart pill turned into liquid and seeped into his blood. The demonic heart pill and the Alchemist Hall Master's blood fused together, but it did not pose any threat to the Alchemist Hall Master. On the contrary, the Alchemist Hall Master felt somewhat refreshed. "Ha ha! Ning Yu, I'm the Alchemist Hall Master. How can mere demonic heart pill control me?" The Alchemist Hall Master laughed. He is an early rank 8 alchemist. He must have controlled the demonic heart pill's medicinal liquid, making it unable to play its role. As a peak rank 7 alchemist, Sun Jiangwen saw through the Alchemist Hall Master's trick with a glance. If you know, then why don't you hurry up and think of a way? Do you want to wait here for the experts of the corpse sect to come? Ningyu was a little angry. How could this Sun Jiangwen be so blind? No problem. Sun Jiangwen quickly released his peak rank 7 soul force and unscrupulously suppressed the Alchemist Hall Master's soul force. Sun Jiangwen, sooner or later you will enter the dark corpse cave and suffer the pain of being bitten by 10,000 corpses. The Alchemist Hall Master was seriously injured, so his soul force naturally could not compete with Sun Jiangwen. His soul force was firmly suppressed by Sun Jiangwen, causing the demonic heart pill's medicinal liquid to begin to spread. Hong Mo, give him another demonic heart pill. As the saying goes, take advantage of your illness. This was what Ningyu was thinking right now. To deal with an expert like the Alchemist Hall Master, he must completely suppress him and not give him the slightest chance to turn around. Got it. The corner of Hong Mo's mouth rose. He took out another demonic heart pill and forced it into the Alchemist Hall Master's mouth. One demonic heart pill might not be able to control the Alchemist Hall Master, but 2 demonic heart pills. Even if the Alchemist Hall Master advanced to the peak Yin-Yang realm, he would still be controlled. Sun Jiangwen, Hong Mo, look after the Alchemist Hall Master. Next, I will inject my blood essence into his body. Seeing the Alchemist Hall Master swallow 2 demonic heart pills, Ningyu said in a deep voice. The demonic heart pill did not have an antidote. It had a unique way of controlling a martial artist. It was controlled by the martial artist's blood essence. In other words, after the controlled martial artist consumed the demonic heart pill, he still needed to inject his blood essence into the controlled martial artist's body. Only then would the demonic heart pill's greatest effect be exerted, and the martial artist would be controlled. Swoosh, swoosh. Hong Mo and Sun Jiangwen did not dare to be negligent. They quickly stood on either side of the Alchemist Hall Master. One controlled the Alchemist Hall Master's soul force, while the other controlled his Yuan Qi. With Yuan Qi and soul force controlled, the Alchemist Hall Master was like a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered by Ningyu. Go! In the next moment, Ningyu forced out a drop of blood essence and injected it into the Alchemist Hall Master's body. Buzz! As soon as the blood essence entered the Alchemist Hall Master's body, Ningyu closed his eyes and tried to communicate with the demonic heart pill. Phew! After a while, Ningyu slowly opened his eyes and breathed out a mouthful of turbid air. His face was filled with joy. All right, Hong Mo, Sun Jiangwen, you can release your control over the Alchemist Hall Master. Ningyu said with a wave of his hand. Ningyu, you can't. As soon as the control over his body was released, the Alchemist Hall Master screamed. However, as soon as the words left his mouth, he grabbed his head with both hands and revealed a pained expression. Alchemist Hall Master, your life is now in my hands. If I want you to live, you will live. If I want you to die, you will die. Chapter 405. Chapter 405. I can take away Humph. You want me to pass false information to the Corpsine sect? Dream on. The Hall Master of Alchemy harumphed coldly, as if he would rather die than submit. Bang! However, just as the Alchemist Hall Master finished speaking, Hong Mo took a step forward and kicked him, causing him to fall flat on his face. You'd better behave yourself. Otherwise, I'll let you know what cruelty is. Hong Mo's entire body's aura was released, crazily pressing down on the Alchemist Palace Master. Even if you kill me, I will not betray the Corpsine sect. The Alchemist Hall Master struggled to stand up from the ground. He resisted the pressure from the Red Devil and coldly said, You could just give up. I've already contacted the higher-ups of the Corpse sect. I believe it won't be long before they arrive. And when that time comes, it will be the time of your deaths. Oh, your mouth is quite stubborn. As he spoke, the Red Devil raised his right hand and was about to strike down. However, before Hong Mo's palm could land on the Alchemist Hall Master's face, Ningyu waved his hand and said indifferently, To deal with someone like the Alchemist Hall Master, you only need to let him understand one thing. What is it? Hong Mo was startled and asked. Ningyu did not directly answer Hong Mo's question. Instead, with a thought, he began to control the alchemist hall master. Ah! Immediately after, the hall master of alchemy clutched his head with both hands and let out a hysterical scream. Seeing the reaction of the alchemist hall master, Hong Mo came to a realization. Inner demon pill. Ningyu used the heart devil pill to control the alchemist hall master, letting him know the consequences of not obeying him. The inner demon pill could trigger the inner demons in the depths of a martial artist's heart, causing their internal organs to feel like they were being bitten by thousands of ants. It could be said that once an ordinary Yuan Dan martial artist was controlled by the inner demon pill, they would basically be obedient and would not dare to act rashly. After all, their willpower was weak, and it was difficult for them to endure the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants. However, Yin-Yang realm martial artists were different. Their willpower was slightly stronger, and some could even resist for a long time. The Alchemist Hall Master's willpower was extremely strong. Facing the pain of being bitten by 10,000 ants, he stood his ground without a change in expression. Sun Jiangwen, what are you waiting for? As Ningyu controlled the Alchemist Hall Master, he said to Sun Jiangwen, suppress the Alchemist Hall Master's soul force. I want to see how long he can last. Understood. Sun Jiangwen did not dare to stop for even a moment. He immediately unleashed his peak 7th grade soul force and crazily pressed down on the Alchemist Hall Master. With his soul force restricted, the Alchemist Hall Master instantly shriveled up and screamed like a madman. The actions of the Alchemist Hall Master caused the corners of Sun Jiangwen's mouth to twitch a few times. There was even some fear in his eyes as he looked at Ningyu. Sun Jiangwen knew that Ningyu still had quite a few inner demon pills in his possession. If Ningyu were to give him one, wouldn't he end up like the Alchemist Hall Master? Therefore, Sun Jiangwen secretly made up his mind to follow Ningyu unswervingly. If Ningyu asked him to go east, he would never go west. Hall Master Alchemist, what do you feel now? Did you change your mind? At this moment, Ningyu stopped controlling the Alchemist Hall Master and asked, if you change your mind, just let me know. Puffed. The Alchemist Hall Master raised his head to look at Ningyu and said angrily, hee, looks like it's not enough. Ningyu smiled slightly and increased his control over the Alchemist Hall Master again, continuing to let him endure the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants. Moreover, Ningyu did not plan to stay here for long. He said to Hong Mo, search the bodies of the other Hall Masters, then we'll go to Woodus City. Swoosh! Hearing this, Hong Mo's figure flashed, and he began to search the bodies of the Martial Force Hall Master and the others. After a while, Hong Mo flew back with a depressed face. How unlucky! Hong Mo spread his hands and said, apart from a few pieces of top-grade Yuan crystals, I didn't even see a strand of hair. Forget it, let's go to Woodus City. Ningyu said, then what about the Alchemist Hall Master? Hong Mo hesitated. Yes, the Alchemist Hall Master must have spread the news to the upper echelons of the corpse sect. If we go to Woodus City like this, we may fall into his trap. Sun Jiangwen also advised. It's okay. The Alchemist Hall Master definitely can't endure the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants for long. Ningyu disagreed and said indifferently, if he still doesn't let go when we reach the gate of Woodus City, then we'll kill him. Subsequently, Ningyu threw the storage ring into the air, and a huge ring of light enveloped the Alchemist Hall Master and the others, instantly sucking them into the storage ring. Swoosh! After doing all this, Ningyu rose from the ground and used his speed to the limit, rushing toward Woodus City. Crack! 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 While Ningyu and the others were heading to Woodus City, in a secret room somewhere in the Dixia Kingdom, for consecutive cracking sounds rang out. Thump! Hearing the 4 crisp sounds, a peak primal core stage martial artist in the secret room was so scared that his legs turned to jelly, and he directly fell to the ground. Soon, the peak primal core stage martial artist stood up from the ground and hurriedly ran outside. Sec Leader, bad news. Bad news. The peak primal core stage martial artist stumbled along the way and finally arrived at a luxurious palace after 3 minutes. Speak. At the end of the palace sat a middle-aged man in a light-colored robe. He seemed to be integrated with the void, giving off a feeling of power without being angry. The middle-aged man stood up from his seat, stared at the peak primal core stage martial artist, and said in a deep voice, "Did the plan to attack the ivory tower fail?" Sect leader, not only did the plan fail, but even the soul cards of the 4 branch hall masters also shattered. The peak primal core stage martial artist lowered his head and said, "What?" Boom. The middle-aged man suddenly exerted force and instantly erupted with a shocking aura. The peak primal core stage martial artist couldn't bear it and directly knelt on the ground, unable to lift his head. The next moment, the middle-aged man withdrew his aura and returned to his original state. "You may leave, I understand," the middle-aged man said calmly. The peak primal core stage martial artist hurriedly left the main hall as if he had been granted amnesty. "I didn't expect the martial artists in the ivory tower to be so powerful. If I had known, I wouldn't have sent the alchemist hall master and the others." The middle-aged man got up and paced back and forth in the main hall. The reason why he didn't ask anymore was because he had just received a secret message from the Alchemist Hall Master and knew the ins and outs of the matter. However, the Alchemist Hall Master didn't tell him who killed the Martial Force Hall Master and the others. This was because when the Alchemist Hall Master sent the message, it was already discovered by Ningyu, so he could only stop the secret message. Since the Alchemist Hall Master is not dead, he will definitely find a way to go to Wuta City. After some thought, the middle-aged man said, "Oh well, Shadow, go to Wuta City and fetch the Alchemist Hall Master back. I have some things I need to ask him personally." Buzz buzz. Chapter 406. Chapter 406. DTH Fong Ziwu Ta City was the transportation fortress of the Xia Kingdom. It was adjacent to the Lanqing Kingdom and was the only city within thousands of miles that could travel with the Lanqing Kingdom. The special geographical environment destined Wu Ta City to be a place where crooks and dragons mingle, with all kinds of forces intertwined. Swoosh! In an open space not far from Wu Ta City, a figure appeared. This figure was none other than Ningyu. After flying at full speed for several hours, Ningyu finally arrived at Wu Ta City. However, Ningyu did not enter Wu Ta City immediately, but found an open space to stop. Subsequently, Ningyu called out Hong Mo and the others from his storage ring. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, Hong Mo, Sun Jiangwen, and the Alchemist Hall Master appeared in front of Ningyu. Am I seeing things? Why did those 3 martial artists suddenly appear? When Hong Mo and the others came out, they were coincidentally seen by an early-stage true martial realm martial artist. The early-stage true martial realm martial artist rubbed his eyes and said doubtfully, appearing out of thin air, "Are they all Yin-Yang realm martial artists?" Suddenly, the early-stage true martial realm martial artist thought of a possibility, and his expression changed slightly. In his subconscious, only Yin-Yang realm martial artists could tear the void and appear out of thin air. Now, that 3 martial artists suddenly appeared, it was very likely that they were Yin-Yang realm martial artists. What are you dreaming about in broad daylight? Next to the early-stage true martial realm martial artist, a peak-stage true martial realm martial artist said, "Let's hurry into Wu Ta City and not miss this event." Yes, the Lanqing Kingdom martial artists are too arrogant. They actually set up an arena in Wu Ta City and said they want to challenge the geniuses of the Xia Kingdom. They're really too much. The early-stage true martial realm martial artist was instantly distracted and said angrily, "Isn't that so? Those Lanqing Kingdom martial artists only dare to be arrogant in Wu Ta City. If they have the ability, why don't they go to the capital?" The peak-stage true martial realm martial artist nodded. "That's right. I heard that Danwu College recently recruited a new core disciple called Ningyu. He's very powerful. If he's in Wu Tuo City, he'll definitely beat the Lanqing Nation's martial artists to the ground." With that, the true martial realm early-stage martial artist quickly walked towards Wu Tuo City. Behind him, the martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm followed closely. Ningyu did not pay attention to the conversation between the two true martial realm martial artists. His attention was completely focused on the Alchemist Hall Master. Alchemist Hall Master, what's your decision? Ningyu crossed his arms before his chest as he stared at the Alchemist Hall Master. At this moment, the Alchemist Hall Master had already been tortured beyond recognition. There wasn't a single piece of clothing on his body that was still intact. Along the way, for several hours, the Alchemist Hall Master constantly endured the pain of being bitten by thousands of ants. If not for his strong willpower, he would have long become a fool. Even so, the current him was not much different from a fool. Although he had been tortured to such an extent, the Alchemist Hall Master would rather die than submit. Fine, since you are so stubborn, I can only send you on your way. With a sigh, Ningyu gave Hong Mo a look, indicating that he should deal with the Alchemist Hall Master. However, before Hong Mo could make a move, Sun Jiangwen quickly said, "Why don't you let me try?" You? Hearing Sun Jiangwen's words, Hong Mo and Ningyu both revealed a doubtful expression. In the Corpsine sect, there are 81 ways to interrogate people. You can leave the Alchemist Hall Master to me. I guarantee that he will be obedient. Sun Jiangwen patted his chest and guaranteed. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, "How long do you need?" Ningyu was weighing the pros and cons. If Sun Jiangwen needed too much time, then there was no need for him to wait any longer. It would be better to just kill the Alchemist Hall Master. If the time was short, then there was no harm in waiting. Half a day, at most half a day, and I will be able to make the Alchemist Hall Master change his mind. Sun Jiangwen said. Half a day, after thinking for a moment, Ningyu clenched his teeth and said, "I will give you half a day. If you can't make the Alchemist Hall Master change his mind after half a day, you should know the consequences." Hearing this, Sun Jiangwen's heart trembled, and he quickly said, "I promise to complete the task. You and the Alchemist Hall Master enter the storage ring. I will go to Wuta City with Hong Mo first. Contact me if anything happens. Buzz." In the next moment, a beam of light rushed out from the storage ring and sucked the Alchemist Hall Master and Sun Jiangwen into it. Then, Ningyu turned around and walked toward Wuta City. "This, young hero, I would like to ask where the two people beside you just now went." However, Ningyu had only taken a few steps when he was stopped by a young man in white. The young man first sized up Ningyu, and then he said in puzzlement, "Why did they disappear in the blink of an eye?" Looking at the white-clothed man that suddenly appeared before him, Ningyu was slightly stunned, and he asked, "You are?" "Haha, you can call me the handsome Fengzi." The white-clothed man made a gesture that he thought was very handsome and said with a smile, "Madman?" Ningyu's mouth opened slightly, as if he didn't hear it clearly, and he repeated, "Are you sure you're called Madman?" "Of course, my name is Madman." "Tui, no, I'm called Fengzi, not Madman." Fengzi hurriedly explained, but the more he explained, the more confused he became. "Isn't it all the same?" Ningyu shrugged, and then he walked past Fengzi and walked toward Wuta City. Swoosh! Fengzi obviously didn't want to let Ningyu go. His figure flashed, and he once again blocked Ningyu's path. "What do you want?" Ningyu's face was slightly gloomy as he said coldly, "Hee, you're very strong, and even just a little weaker than me. Now, there's something that will make you famous in the Great Xia Kingdom. Do you undo it?" Fengzi snickered and tempted. "No." Ningyu didn't even ask what it was and directly refused. Hey, why are you like this? This matter concerns the reputation of the Great Xia Kingdom. How can you not care about it?" Fengzi followed beside Ningyu like a little tail that couldn't be shaken off. Swish! Ningyu stopped with a swish, and his eyes stared at Fengzi as he said, "I'm like this. If you dare to follow me again, don't blame me for being rude." Fengzi was stunned, but he still didn't change and continued to follow behind Ningyu. Swish! Seeing this, Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and he slammed a palm at Fengzi. Good timing. Facing the palm that attacked him, Fengzi's brows raised. He raised his right hand, and it collided with Ningyu's palm that he couldn't avoid. Pa! The The two palms collided, and a muffled sound came out. Following that, Ningyu and Feng Zi each retreated 3 steps before stabilizing their figures. This strike, both sides were evenly matched. What? Seeing Feng Zi and Ningyu fight to a draw, Hongmo's expression changed slightly, his face full of disbelief. Hong Mo knew Ningyu's strength. It was powerful to the point that it made one's hair stand on end, especially after advancing to the late-stage true martial realm. Ningyu's strength was enough to contend with initial-stage yin-yang realm martial artists. Even under the situation where he unleashed all his trump cards, he could kill initial-stage yin-yang realm martial artists. Who was Feng Zi to actually be able to fight to a draw with Ningyu? Chapter 407. Arena Battle. Young hero, how should I address you? Rubbing his slightly swollen wrist, Feng Zi said solemnly, "You're very strong, even comparable to me." Ningyu said in a deep voice. Through the hasty exchange just now, Ningyu knew that Feng Zi was very strong, ridiculously strong. At the very least, he didn't have 100% confidence in defeating Feng Zi without exposing his trump card. Isn't that good? Let me tell you, you have to help me with this matter. Feng Zi came to Ningyu's side, as if he was familiar with him, put his hand on Ningyu's shoulder, and said, "The genius martial artists of the Lanqing Nation set up in Wuta City." However, before Feng Zi finished speaking, Ningyu slapped his hand away and said vigilantly, "You can't be gay, right?" Feng Zi was a little embarrassed, scratched his head, and said, "How can I be gay? My sexual orientation is very normal. Women, beauties, I don't reject anyone." Stop! What did you say the martial artists of the Lanqing Nation set up in Wuta City? Ningyu hurriedly said. If he let Feng Zi continue, who knew what he would say? If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Feng Zi explained. The genius martial artists of the Lanqing Nation set up an arena in Wuta City Square to challenge the peerless geniuses of the Xia Nation. If they want to challenge, then so be it. What does it have to do with me? Ningyu said indifferently. You can't say that. Yesterday, there were already many geniuses from the capital who rushed to Wuta City, but unfortunately, those geniuses from the capital were all defeated without exception. Feng Zi said angrily. So the martial artists of the Lanqing Nation spread the word that the younger generation of the Xia Nation are all trash and useless. What kind of people are the martial artists from the capital? Ningyu asked. There are only 2 famous ones, Xikong Ling and Xiaoyu. Feng Zi explained. Xikong Ling comes from the black market and is at the peak of the true martial realm. Xiaoyu comes from the drunken cloud manor and is also at the peak of the true martial realm. Compared to Xikong Ling, I like Xiaoyu more. TSK, those legs, those breasts, really. Xikong Ling and Xiaoyu's cultivation have advanced to the peak of the true martial realm. Ningyu's brows slightly furrowed, feeling a little surprised. When he left the capital, Xikong Ling and Xiaoyu's cultivation was still only at the late stage of the true martial realm. Only a few days had passed, yet they had both advanced to the peak stage of the true martial realm. If Xikong Ling and Xiao knew what Ningyu was thinking, they would have vomited. In just a few days, Ningyu had not only advanced his cultivation to the late stage of the true martial realm, but also promoted his soul force to the peak of grade 5. To Unchun, I said, Tun, I heard that the first prince has also heard of this news and is rushing over personally. Suddenly, Feng Zi seemed to have thought of something and said, according to my observation, it's useless even if the eldest prince comes. Unless I take the initiative. No, unless you and I take action, no one can do anything to those geniuses from the Blue Qing Nation. By the way, there's another genius martial artist that I'm more optimistic about, but it's a pity that he didn't come. He's the new core disciple of Danwu College, Ning. F***CK. Your name is also Ningyu? Then, Feng Zi's eyes widened as he stared at Ningyu with a dumbfounded expression. Since an old friend is here, we might as well go and meet him. Ignoring Feng Zi, Ningyu walked towards Wutua City. Ningyu knew both Xikong Ling and Xiaoyu and was very familiar with them. Two old friends had arrived at Wutuo City. How could there be a reason not to meet them? Hey, wait for me. Seeing that he was about to leave, Fengzi hurriedly followed. Entering Wutuo City once again, Ningyu no longer had the same feeling as the first time he entered. What he got was a sense of calmness. At this time, there were very few pedestrians on the streets of Wutuo City. Ningyu, are you Ningyu from Danwu College's sacred institution? Along the way, Fengzi asked tirelessly like a mad dog that didn't know what fatigue was. No. Ningyu stopped in his tracks and said, I don't believe it. Fengzi curled his lips and said, Isn't that it? I told you, but you didn't believe me. If I didn't say it, you have to ask if I'm sick. Ningyu spread his hands and said helplessly. A hint of awkwardness appeared on Fengzi's face, but very quickly, he returned to normal and changed the topic. Let's hurry to Wutuo City Square. The Blue Qing Nation's arena is set there. There's no hurry. Let's go buy some herbs first. Ningyu said indifferently. In a few days, the heart-devouring pill in Lu Wei's body would take effect. With Lu Wei's Xiantian realm cultivation, she definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. Therefore, Ningyu had to think of a way to buy the medicinal ingredients needed to refine the heart-devouring pill and get Sun Jiangwen to help refine the antidote. What are you still buying? I've received accurate news that a battle is about to begin. Fengzi said anxiously. If we don't hurry over, it's very likely that another genius from the great Xian nation will suffer a heavy injury and have his cultivation crippled. Hey, have you heard? Xikong Ling from the capital is going to battle with the genius from the Blue Qing nation. Of course I heard. Let's hurry over. We might be able to see this battle. I'm afraid it's too late. The genius from the Blue Qing nation is incomparably powerful. By the time we get there, Xikong Ling will definitely be defeated. That's not a big deal. Xikong Ling's next battle is against Xiaoyu from the Drunken Cloud Manor. Hee. Xiaoyu is really an outstanding beauty. I wonder if the genius from the Blue Qing nation will have tender feelings for the fairer sex. Tender feelings for the fairer sex? How is that possible? He can't wait to cripple the cultivation of all the martial artists who enter the ring. At this moment, two martial artists passed by Ningyu. Their conversation was heard by Ningyu without missing a word. Hongamo, go buy the pills first. Remember, buy more. Hearing the conversation between the two martial artists, Ningyu's face instantly darkened. In the next moment, he took out a storage bag and threw it to Hong Mo Pa. After receiving the storage bag, Hong Mo called out to Ningyu, who was about to leave, and threw the red demon sword at Ningyu. I don't have any use for it. You should keep it. When I'm done buying the pills, I'll look for you immediately. Swoosh. With that, Hong Mo rose from the ground and rushed towards the nearest pharmacy in Wutuo City. Fengzi, go to the ring. With that, Ningyu stomped his feet on the ground and rushed out. So anxious? Could it be that Ningyu knows that Xiaoyu? Looking at Ningyu's back, Fengzi dared not delay and immediately rushed out, following closely behind. Bang! At the same time, in the middle of Wutuo City Square, a huge circular ring was built. On the ring, two martial artists stood on the left and right. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely recognize that one of the martial artists was Xikong Ling, peak of the true martial realm. The other martial artist was dressed in green, and his cultivation was more vague. However, according to the speculation of the crowd below the ring, the martial artist in green should be between the peak of the true martial realm and the Yuan Dan realm. Chapter 408. Chapter 408. Crippling cultivation, peak of the true martial realm. You are not my match. If you admit defeat earlier, I will not cripple your cultivation. Looking at Xikong Ling, the martial artist in green extended a finger and shook it in front of him as he said indifferently, Humph. Lu Lizzie, don't be so arrogant. Xikong Ling coldly snorted and said in a gloomy voice, You are only at the half-step origin core realm and you want to cripple my cultivation? Let's see if you have the ability. Haha. Some people are truly fearless because they are ignorant. With a slight smile, Lu Lizzie's figure immediately dashed out and arrived in front of Xikong Ling in an instant. A fist brought along a violent yuan-chi gale as it ruthlessly smashed towards Sikong Ling's chest. Facing such a violent punch from Lu Lizzie, Sikong Ling's face turned solemn. He gathered all the yuan-chi in his body on his wrist and unavoidably collided with Lu Lizzie's fist. Kacha! When the two fists collided, only a cracking sound could be heard. Then, Sikong Ling's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly retreated. After stabilizing his body, Sikong Ling's right hand was hanging down. It was obvious that he had been crippled. Voila! Lu Lizzie defeated Sikong Ling in one move. It immediately caused a huge uproar at the scene. Below the stage, everyone looked at Lu Lizzie in shock, their faces filled with disbelief. Lu Lizzie is so powerful that he defeated Sikong Ling in one move? Sikong Ling is a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm. How could he be so weak? That's right. This time, the Lanqing nation sent 3 peerless geniuses. Among the 3, Lu Lizzie can only be ranked 3rd. Lu Lizzie is already so powerful. Just how abnormal are the other 2 martial artists? As they spoke, everyone shifted their gaze to the other side of the stage. There were 2 young men standing there. It seems that there is no one in Wu-Ta City who can deal with Third Brother. Tomorrow, we will head to the capital of the Great Xia Nation and set up the stage there. A smile appeared on the face of a young man in blue as he muttered, "Second Brother, don't underestimate anyone." Beside the blue-clothed youth, a black-robed martial artist frowned slightly and said, "Wu-Ta City is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It is better to be careful. I heard that the first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom will be arriving soon. By then, there will definitely be a fierce battle. The first prince is just a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm. If he dares to come, I will beat him until all his teeth fall to the ground." The blue-robed young man said disapprovingly, "Second Brother, with your personality, you will suffer sooner or later." The black-robed martial artist berated, "I have received accurate news that the Crown Prince has already advanced to the early Primal Core stage and has mastered a technique that is extremely powerful. Forget it. It's useless to talk to you about this now. Let's wait and see. Who knows? There might be more powerful cultivators in Wu-Ta City who haven't appeared yet." Whoosh! At the same time, in the arena, Lu Lizzie did not continue after succeeding in his attack. Instead, he crossed his arms in front of his chest and stared at Sikong Ling with interest as he laughed sinisterly. A martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm in the Xia Kingdom is only SOSO. How about this? As long as you kneel down and kowtow to me, what I said earlier still stands. I won't cripple your cultivation." Hearing Lu Lizzie's words, Sikong Ling spat out a mouthful of saliva and said angrily, "You want me to kowtow to you? Dream on. TSK, TSK. Since it's like this, I can only cripple your cultivation, lest others say that I'm soft-hearted." With a strange laugh, Lu Lizzie's feet suddenly stomped on the ground. His body was like a sharp sword as he charged straight at Sikong Ling. Whoosh. Wherever Lu Lizzie's figure passed, there was a whooshing sound of wind breaking. The void seemed to be torn apart as the air spread out to both sides. "Sikong Ling, be careful." Seeing such a powerful attack from Lu Lizzie, Xiaoyu could not help but shout from below the arena. Xiaoyu had an unyielding character. When she heard that the genius of the Lanqing Kingdom had set up an arena in Wu-Ta City, she rushed to Wu-Ta City immediately. Perhaps because he was afraid that she would be in danger, Sikong Ling chose to follow her. Just now, she wanted to go up the arena to fight Lu Lizzie. If it wasn't for Sikong Ling stopping her, the one who would have been injured would have been her. If you really can't do it, then retreat from the arena. Therefore, Xiaoyu hurriedly reminded, "Hee, retreat from the arena?" In the process of advancing, Lu Lizzie did not forget to glance at Xiaoyu and said with a sinister smile, "In front of me, he can only stand on the arena and have his cultivation crippled." As his voice fell, Lu Lizzie had already arrived beside Sikong Ling, and a punch landed on Sikong Ling's chest. Swoosh! Being hit in the chest by Lu Lizzie's fist, Sikong Ling's body was like a kite with a broken string, falling straight towards the back. Swoosh! However, just as Sikong Ling was about to fall off the arena, Lu Lizzie's figure dashed out and kicked Sikong Ling's back again. Poochie! Being hit in the chest by Lu Lizzie's fist and his back by Lu Lizzie's kick, Sikong Ling fell heavily on the arena. He first let out a blood-curdling scream, then spat out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his complexion became incomparably pale. In the next moment, Sikong Ling supported himself with both hands on the arena and stood up with great difficulty. TSK, not bad. With a cultivation at the peak of the true martial realm, you can still stand up after enduring 2 moves from me. I have to say, I really admire you. Smacking his lips, Lu Lizzie suddenly changed the topic and revealed a disappointed expression. If you had admitted defeat earlier, I would definitely not have crippled your cultivation. But now it's too late. As soon as his voice fell, Lu Lizzie's eyes revealed a frightening expression. Then his legs slightly bent, wanting to rush out. Lu Lizzie, I'm going to challenge you next. However, before Lu Lizzie could rush out, a loud shout came from below the arena. Hearing this, Lu Lizzie was slightly startled and turned his head to look. Below the arena, Xiao Yu's face was full of anger as she scolded. Sikong Ling has already admitted defeat. Why do you still want to cripple his cultivation? He admit defeat? Why didn't I hear it? Lu Lizzie lightly smiled and shrugged. Sikong Ling, if you don't want to die, quickly admit defeat. Xiao Yu shouted at Sikong Ling, who was on the verge of collapse. You're not Lu Lizzie's opponent. Where there's life, there's hope. When we return to the capital, I'll let Ningyu teach him a lesson. Ningyu? Lu Lizzie raised his eyebrows and laughed sinisterly. That core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute, right? There's no need for him to teach me a lesson. Tomorrow, I'll personally go to the capital to find him. Right. Is Ningyu at the early stage of the true martial realm or the middle stage of the true martial realm? To tell you the truth, not to mention the middle stage of the true martial realm. Even if it's a peak stage true martial realm martial artist, I can easily defeat them in 1 move. Immediately, Lu Lizzie pointed at Sikong Ling and indifferently said, this trash at the peak of the true martial realm is the best example. If Ningyu dares to come, I'll make sure he doesn't come. Is that so? At this moment, an indifferent voice came from not far away. Hearing this voice, everyone, including Lu Lizzie, turned their heads around. Chapter 409. An eye for an eye, Ningyu. Looking at the thin figure at the entrance of the square, Xiao Yu's mouth was slightly agape, revealing a look of disbelief. She never thought that Ningyu would appear at this time. Ningyu? Which one is Ningyu? You don't even know. The martial artist on the left is the core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. Ningyu. He is Ningyu? So young. Of course he is young. Otherwise, how could he become a core disciple of the Sacred Institute? This is going to be a good show. According to the grapevine, Ningyu is very strong. He can even defeat a Yuan dance stage martial artist. The appearance of Ningyu caused an uproar around the ring. Everyone discussed animatedly, and the focus of their discussion was naturally on Ningyu. Ningyu did not care about the discussions of the surrounding cultivators. Instead, he walked straight to the arena. You injure my brother. No matter what, you have to leave something behind. Looking at Sikong Ling, who was on the verge of collapse, Ningyu's face instantly darkened as he coldly said, "Ha." Looking up to the sky and laughing, Lu Lizzie pointed at his own nose and gloomily said, You, a martial artist in the late stage of the true martial realm, dare to speak so arrogantly? Do you want my arms or my legs? Isn't Ningyu a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute? Why is he only in the late stage of true martial realm? I don't know either. Shouldn't a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute be in a Yuan dance stage? The late stage true martial realming, you shouldn't be a match for Lu Lizzie. It's hard to say. After all, Lu Lizzie is a half step into the Yuan dance stage martial artist. It will be difficult for Ningyu to defeat Lu Lizzie. What's so difficult about it? Didn't you just say that Ning Yu could defeat a primal core stage martial artist? Why can't he even defeat Lu Lizzy now? Humph. How could a normal Yuan dance stage martial artist compare to Lu Lizzy? You have to know that Lu Lizzy is a peerless genius of the Blue Qing Nation. This time, everyone was obviously not optimistic about Ningyu. After all, Lu Lizzy was also a genius, and Ningyu didn't have an advantage in terms of cultivation. Therefore, in everyone's opinion, it would be harder for Ningyu to win. Your name is Lu Lizzy? The discussions of the surrounding martial artists naturally entered Ningyu's ears. From the conversations of these martial artists, Ningyu found out that the martial artist on the stage was called Lu Lizzy, a peerless genius of the Blue Qing Nation. Of course, Lu Lizzy said proudly. Idiot! As soon as he finished speaking, Ningyu immediately leaped into the arena. You're courting death. Hearing the word idiot, coupled with Ningyu's actions, made Lu Lizzy's face turn cold. Even in the Blue Qing Nation, no one dared to call him an idiot in front of him. An aunt could tolerate this, but an uncle couldn't. What if he couldn't tolerate it? Of course, it was to teach Ningyu a lesson. Therefore, Lu Lizzy made his move. As soon as Ningyu leaped into the arena, he made his move. It was fine if he didn't move, but once he did, it was shocking. Almost in an instant, Lu Lizzy appeared behind Ningyu, and his fist whistled through the air as it flew towards Ningyu's head. Although Lu Lizzy verbally looked down on Ningyu, he was not careless in his attack. He used all his strength to defeat Ningyu in one move. Noisy, feeling the whistling wind coming from behind him, Ningyu first impatiently let out a low shout. Immediately, he suddenly turned around and raised his right hand, coming into close contact with Lu Lizzy's fist. Crack! In the next moment, only a crisp sound could be heard from the arena, followed by a scream from Lu Lizzy's mouth. After the hysterical scream, Lu Lizzy took a few steps back. However, his right hand was already a bloody mess. Obviously, it had been crippled. My brother's right hand was crippled by you, so it's not too much for me to cripple one of your hands. After crippling Lu Lizzy's right hand, Ningyu did not stay on the spot. Instead, he quickly walked to Xikong Ling's side. Placing Xikong Ling's left hand on his shoulder, Ningyu asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine, I won't die yet, ha!" Xikong Ling grinned and wanted to use his right hand to pound Ningyu's chest. However, just as he raised his right hand, he let out a scream. Seeing this, Ningyu hurriedly released his soul force and entered Xikong Ling's right hand to check on the injury. This look was nothing serious, but Ningyu broke out in a cold sweat. At the same time, Ningyu clenched his fists tightly, his face full of anger. The tendons in Xikong Ling's right hand were all broken. Even the flesh inside had become minced meat. With this kind of injury, unless he changed his right hand would never be able to recover. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu tried hard to calm himself down and smiled at Xikong Ling. "Your right hand is fine. Wait for me to take care of the trouble in front of me first, then I'll help you treat it." "Ningyu, don't lie to me. I know my injury very well." Laughing bitterly, Xikong Ling said helplessly, "Worst comes to worst, I'll just chop off my right hand. As a man, losing only one hand is nothing." As he spoke, Xikong Ling raised his left hand and was about to chop off his right hand. "What are you doing?" Ningyu hurriedly stopped Xikong Ling and scolded, "I said I can treat it, so I can definitely treat it. Trust me, go down and rest first. We'll talk after I take care of the trouble. Be careful." How could Xikong Ling not know that Ningyu was just comforting him? If it really could be treated, Ningyu would definitely treat him immediately and not let him go down and wait. However, Xikong Ling was also a tough guy. Even after knowing that his right hand was completely crippled, he still showed such determination, which was really admirable. Seeing Xikong Ling walk down the stage, Ningyu twisted his neck and turned around. His eyes stared at Lu Lizzy, and a frightening light burst forth from them. "Oomph! What kind of tricks are you playing?" The core disciple of Danwu College's sacred institution is only SOSO. Seeing the light emitted from Ningyu's eyes, Lu Lizzy couldn't help but shiver, but he quickly concealed it. In order to conceal the fear in his heart, Lou Lizzie coldly snorted, "If you look again, I'll dig out your eyeballs. I didn't expect you to be so ruthless. Never mind. You'll pay back double for my brother's injuries." In an instant, Ningyu regained his composure and said indifferently, "You want me to pay double? Why don't you look at yourself?" Hearing Ningyu's words, Lou Lizzie was just about to reply when he realized that Ningyu had already arrived beside him. Not good. Feeling the powerful aura emitted from Ningyu, Lou Lizzie's heart skipped a beat, and his face revealed an astonished expression. Not daring to be negligent, Lou Lizzie hurriedly gathered all the energy in his body onto his left wrist, and with a backhand punch, he made intimate contact with Ningyu's fist. Ningyu and Lou Lizzie separated as soon as they made contact, each taking a few steps back. Except, Ningyu only took a step back before stabilizing his body, while Lou Lizzie retreated to the edge of the stage before stabilizing his body. Chapter 410. Chapter 410. Introduction ranked second. What? Lou Lizzie's left hand has been crippled in one move. Not just his left hand. Ningyu's first move has already crippled his right hand. In other words, in just 2 moves, Ningyu has crippled both of Lou Lizzie's hands. Ningyu's strength is actually this strong. Seeing Lou Lizzie's miserable state, the martial artists below the stage all revealed shocked expressions. Originally, they did not think highly of Ningyu. After all, Ningyu was only at the late stage of the true martial realm, while Lou Lizzie was half a step into the Yuandan realm. Coupled with the fact that Sikong Ling, who was at the peak of the true martial realm, was defeated by Lou Lizzie, the crowd was even more pessimistic about Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu's performance would be completely out of their expectations? 2 moves, in just 2 moves, Ningyu had crippled both of Lou Lizzie's hands. Especially his left hand, which was badly mutilated. Not a single piece of intact flesh could be seen. Ningyu's heart is too ruthless. Lou Lizzie only broke the bones in Sikong Ling's right hand, and it was fine after that, but Ningyu completely crippled both of Lou Lizzie's hands, an early Khanate stage martial artist said, somewhat unable to watch any longer. Too ruthless. Hearing this early Khanate stage martial artist's words, an early primal core stage martial artist next to him laughed coldly and said, "Your cultivation is too low. Naturally, you can't see the extent of Sikong Ling's injuries." That's right. Let me put it this way. Sikong Ling's right hand basically has no chance of recovery, and it might even gradually spread. Another mid-primal core stage martial artist continued. To preserve his life, he must amputate his right hand within a day. Only then will there be a chance of survival. Hiss. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists all sucked in a breath of cold air. They all understood the principle of an eye for an eye. For Ningyu to be so heavy-handed, it was also reasonable. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, 2 figures, one blue and one black, flew past and landed steadily beside Lou Lizzie. "Third brother, your hand." Among them, the martial artist in blue checked Lou Lizzie's hands, then turned around and said angrily, "Ningyu, I want you dead." The moment the word die fell, the martial artist in blue rose from the ground, turned into a shadow, and rushed towards Ningyu. Seeing the blue-clad cultivator make a move, the black-clad cultivator wanted to stop him. However, just as he raised his right hand, he lowered it again. In his opinion, Ningyu was only at the late stage of the true martial realm, while Li Minggang was at the early stage of the primal core realm. Even if Ningyu was strong, it would still be difficult for him to defeat Li Minggang in one move. Therefore, the black-robe martial artist did not stop Li Minggang. Instead, he hurriedly bandaged Lou Lizzie's hands. Lou Lizzie's right hand was still in a better condition. It was not completely shattered. It was just a bloody mess. The black-robed cultivator only needed to bandage it slightly. "Damn it, you hit me so hard, I wanna..." When he was wrapping up Lou Lizzie's left hand, the black-robed cultivator actually didn't know where to start. However, before the black-robed cultivator could finish his sentence, he heard a cry of pain. He hurriedly lifted his head and saw Ning Yu standing in the middle of the arena, staring at Li Minggang with interest. As for Li Minggang, he screamed in pain, his right hand clutching his chest. His face was full of viciousness. Even Li Minggang is not a match for Ning Yu. Li Minggang is at the early stage of the primal core realm. Even he's not a match for Ning Yu. What's the big deal about the early stage of the primal core realm? In my opinion, even a middle stage primal core realm martial artist might not be able to win against Ning Yu. It's hard to say. Li Minggang still has a trump card that he has not used. Once he uses it, I'm afraid even Ning Yu will have to give in. Let's wait and see. The surrounding martial artist's words reached Li Minggang's ears, causing his face to completely darken. As a dignified early-stage primal core realm martial artist, he actually could not beat a late-stage true martial realm martial artist. If word of this got out, wouldn't he be laughed at by the martial artists of the Lanqing Kingdom? This time, the three brothers had gone to Wutuo City to set up the arena because they had a bet with a prince of the Lanqing Kingdom that they could fight all the way to the capital of the Xia Kingdom. If they were to be defeated in Wutuo City, they would definitely lose face. Therefore, in Li Minggang's heart, he could not lose no matter what. Ning Yu, I admit that I underestimated you, but taking a deep breath, Li Minggang said in a low voice. However, before Li Minggang could finish, Ning Yu waved his hand and said plainly, "There are many people who underestimate me. Who do you think you are?" Ha, Ning Yu said, "I like your character." Below the arena, Feng Zi laughed unscrupulously. That look was as annoying as it could get. As he laughed, Feng Zi felt that someone was looking at him and hurriedly started searching. When his gaze met with Ning Yu's, his laughter stopped abruptly. He scratched his head awkwardly and chose to keep quiet. "Feng Zi, look after Xikong Ling for me. His right hand needs nursing." Ning Yu's voice sounded out by Feng Zi's ear, very weak. Hearing that, Feng Zi was startled. Looking left and right, he immediately pulled a long face and walked towards Xikong Ling. Feng Zi was already well aware of the injury on Xikong Ling's right hand. Unless the hand was chopped off and replaced with a new palm, otherwise, even if a creation realm martial artist came over, they would not be able to do anything. "Madman, will Ning Yu be in danger?" Seeing Feng Zi walk over to her side, Xiao Yu said hesitantly, "I'll take care of Xikong Ling. You'd better go help Ning Yu." "I'm not called Madman. I'm called Feng Zi." Feng Zi was somewhat unhappy and said with a straight face, "As long as the black-robed martial artist doesn't make a move, Ning Yu will not be in danger. Aren't they all the same, all madmen?" Muttering to herself, Xiao Yu said, "Xikong Ling's right hand's injury is very serious. Should we?" Xiao Yu did not continue to say the following words. "Chop it. Losing a right hand, I could still hold on." The current Xikong Ling was already drenched in sweat, but he still gritted his teeth and said, Don't. Feng Zi hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Ning Yu said before that he has a way to treat your right hand. Now we just need to deal with it a little and prevent it from spreading. Leave the rest to Ning Yu." "No problem. I believe in Ning Yu," Xikong Ling said in a deep voice. "All right then, I respect you as a man. After this matter is over, I'll acknowledge you as a brother." Feng Zi also admired Xikong Ling's optimism very much and directly addressed him as brother. Feng Zi's words caused Xikong Ling's forehead to be filled with black lines. Feng Zi was also too narcissistic, making it seem as if he had benefited greatly from him acknowledging him as a brother. At the same time, on the stage, Li Minggang's chest heaved up and down. "Who do I think I am? Let me tell you, among us three brothers, I'm ranked second." Li Minggang was clearly already on the verge of exploding in rage as he said fiercely, "Oh, I understand," Ning Yu said lightly. "What do you understand?" Frowning slightly, Li Minggang asked. Chapter 411. Killing Shadow Fist's second brother? Damn it, isn't Ning Yu too dirty? How is this dirty? Li Minggang is the second brother. He's the second brother. That's right, he's the second brother. Ning Yu is right. Sigh. Ning Yu is a little unkind. Although Li Minggang is the second brother, There's no need for him to say it out loud. Isn't he offending Li Minggang? So be it. In my opinion, Ningyu isn't afraid of Li Minggang. The discussions of the surrounding cultivators entered Li Minggang's ears, causing his face to darken. Ningyu called him the second brother in front of everyone. He didn't respect him at all. Crack! Crack! Li Minggang clenched his fists so hard that they made cracking sounds. He was like an enraged bull, ready to rush out. However, just as Li Minggang was about to rush out, a scream rang out in the area. Li Minggang was slightly taken aback when he heard this. He quickly looked in the direction of the sound. On the other side of the arena, the black-robed martial artist raised his blade and chopped off Lu Lizzie's left hand. Third brother. Li Minggang tapped the ground with his toes and appeared beside Lu Lizzie in an instant. Third brother's left hand is severely injured. If we don't chop it off, it might rot. The black-robed martial artist's face was extremely cold as he said in a low voice. As he spoke, the black-robed martial artist carried Lu Lizzie and walked out of the arena. However, his voice slowly rang in Li Minggang's ears. Don't hold back. The fourth prince of Lanqing country will be here soon. He's a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. If you kill him, then so be it. The fourth prince will bear the consequences. Li Minggang's face lit up when he heard the words. Then, his expression turned cold. He slowly raised his head and a cold voice came out of his mouth. Ningyu, your life no longer belongs to you the moment you injured third brother. This day, next year, will be the anniversary of your death. Swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, Li Minggang's body charged towards Ningyu. Humph! Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Ningyu coldly snorted. Soon after, with a jerk of his body, Berserk Yuan power exploded around him, after which it gathered on his wrist and shot towards Li Minggang's head. Robber logic. Li Minggang definitely had robber logic. He only allowed Lu Lizzie to injure Sikong Ling and cripple Sikong Ling's right hand. But was he not allowed to cripple Lu Lizzie's hands? Bang! After one move, Li Minggang and Ningyu both took 3 steps back before they could stabilize themselves. This time, both sides were evenly matched. What's going on? Li Minggang has become so powerful? Yeah, Ningyu had the upper hand just now. Why are they evenly matched now? Killing Shadow Fist. It's actually killing Shadow Fist. What's killing Shadow Fist? You don't even know killing Shadow Fist? Too outdated. Killing Shadow Fist is a heaven middle grade martial skill. When trained to the extreme, it can display thousands of fist lights. Its power is incomparably powerful. Killing Shadow Fist has a total of 10 punches. Just now, Li Minggang displayed only the first punch. This time, I'm afraid Ningyu is doomed. Hearing the surrounding martial artist's words, Ningyu slightly frowned. Killing Shadow Fist was somewhat similar to Shadowless Fist. However, killing Shadow Fist was of a much higher level. It was a heaven middle grade martial skill. When trained to the extreme, its power was comparable to a heaven upper grade martial skill. Ningyu just now was just a small test. Next is the real battle. Twisting his neck, Li Minggang quickly formed a seal with both hands. In a split second, 10 fist lights emerged and rushed toward Ningyu at the same time. It's killing Shadow Fist's second punch, 10 fist lights. With Ningyu's strength, he should be able to withstand 10 fist lights, right? Of course, 10 fist lights can't defeat Ningyu. Swoosh! Ningyu's performance did not disappoint the crowd. Absolute dust. He bellowed and flicked his wrist, sending out a palm print. Although the absolute dust palm print was only the Netherworld Samsara palm's first move, its power was not weak. When it came into contact with Li Minggang's 10 fist lights, the fist lights were dispersed. Killing Shadow Fist's third punch. The 10 fist lights were dispersed by Ningyu's palm print, but Li Minggang did not take it to heart. Instead, he immediately executed the killing Shadow Fist's third punch. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The killing Shadow Fist third punch had a total of 50 fist lights. Its power was several times stronger than the second punch. Solitary name. Facing the 50 fist lights, Ningyu waved his palm and executed the Netherworld Samsara palm's second move, solitary name palm print. Swoosh! As expected, the 50 fist lights that Li Minggang executed were dispersed in an instant. Damn it! Li Minggang cursed under his breath as dozens of fist lights were dispersed. He then executed the Killing Shadow Fist's fourth and fifth punch. The Killing Shadow Fist's fourth punch contained 100 fist lights. The fifth punch contained 200 fist lights. A total of 300 fist lights charged towards Ningyu without any regard for their lives. Serene Fiend. Ningyu narrowed his eyes as he looked at the 300 fist lights that were approaching him. He let out a low roar, and a huge palm print separated from his palm. Netherworld Samsara Palm's third move. Serene Fiend Palm Print. TSK, TSK. The instant Li Minggang's 300 fist lights came into contact with the Serene Fiend palm print, 100 of them were dispersed. Following that, the remaining 200 fist lights were dispersed as well. What rank of martial skill did Ningyu execute? Why is it so powerful? I'm also curious. Li Minggang executed a mid-grade heaven-ranked martial skill. Could it be that Ningyu executed a high-grade heaven-ranked martial skill? It's highly possible. Ningyu is a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. It's reasonable for Danwu College to reward him with 1 or 2 high-grade heaven-ranked martial skills. Cool, very cool. Ningyu should have arrived earlier. If he did, the first few martial artists wouldn't have their cultivation crippled. Ningyu withstood Li Minggang's attacks, which immediately excited the martial artists around the ring. Before Ningyu appeared, they had been ridiculed by Li Minggang and the others. Now that it was their turn to ridicule Li Minggang and the others, they naturally wouldn't show any mercy. Ningyu, cripple Li Minggang's cultivation. A true martial realm martial artist shouted. Yes, cripple Li Minggang's cultivation. Let him pay with his blood. We support you. Cripple Li Minggang, this trash. Get him out of the Great Xia Kingdom. Get out of Wutuo City. The words of this true martial realm martial artist attracted waves of echoes from the surrounding martial artists. After being suppressed for so long, they finally had the chance to erupt. They definitely wouldn't miss it. Ningyu, the first 5 Shadow Slaughter Fist, are just superficial. They don't have much power. At this time, Li Minggang calmed down and wasn't affected by the words of the surrounding martial artists. Instead, the corner of his mouth rose, revealing a trace of an evil smile. Next, I'll let you see. Chapter 412. Unable to withstand a blow, heaven-killing fist. Li Minggang has mastered the heaven-killing fist. That's just too unbelievable. The heaven-killing fist is the 10th form of the shadow-killing fist. It is extremely powerful. I wonder how powerful the heaven-killing fist will be in Li Minggang's hands. As soon as Li Minggang finished his sentence, the warriors below the ring began to discuss. The shadow-killing fist was a mid-grade heaven-level technique. When mastered, its power was comparable to an upper-grade heaven-level technique. It was obvious that Li Minggang had mastered the shadow-killing fist to the extreme. The heaven-killing fist. Ningyu's expression was solemn. Through the previous few moves, he had roughly estimated Li Minggang's true strength. Without using his trump card, Li Minggang was no match for him. However, once Li Minggang had a powerful trump card, the outcome would become confusing. After all, Li Minggang was an early-stage primal core warrior. In the Lanqing Kingdom, he was one of the top geniuses. The heaven-killing fist was obviously Li Minggang's trump card. Ningyu, it's not too late to surrender. Seeing Ningyu's solemn expression, the corner of Li Minggang's mouth curled up and he sneered. As long as you admit defeat, I can spare your worthless life and only cripple your hands. But, speaking up to here, Li Minggang paused slightly, pointed at Sikong Ling below the ring, and said with a sinister smile, "His life, I'm taking it for sure. There are idiots every day, but there are a lot this year." Shrugging, Ningyu did not comment on Li Minggang's words. "You're asking for it." Hearing Ningyu's words, Li Minggang's eyes turned cold, and he immediately jumped up. On his fist, a violent wave of energy appeared. Moreover, along with the passage of time, the wisp of origin energy grew more and more numerous. In the end, it even caused Ning Yu's heart to palpitate. Ning Yu, if you don't surrender, you will have to face the wrath of the heaven-killing fist. A cold voice came out of Li Minggong's mouth. Immediately, the temperature of the ring plummeted to freezing point. Rumble. Li Minggong quickly pushed out with his right hand. Suddenly, a shocking fist light appeared and attacked Ning Yu at an astonishing speed. Chi-chi. The fist radiance was so fast that it even created friction with the air, producing a sizzling sound. The heaven-killing fist was different from the previous punches. Not only was it powerful, but there was only one fist light. Dark Tyrant Palm. Facing the powerful heaven-killing fist, Ning Yu did not dare to be negligent. He quickly channeled the essence in his sea of consciousness into his palm. As Ning Yu shouted, a palm imprint that wasn't any weaker than the heaven-killing fist separated from Ning Yu's palm and collided with the heaven-killing fist. Pa! One punch, one palm. Both were almost tangible, and there was not much difference between them and a physical palm print. Hence, when the two collided, a muffled sound rang out. Immediately, Ning Yu and Li Minggong both took a few steps back. This time, both of them retreated to the edge of the arena. Evenly matched. They're evenly matched again. Today's battle will be interesting to watch. I wonder who will win in the end. Who else can it be? Ning Yu will definitely win. I don't think so. The two of them are evenly matched. It is hard to tell who will win in the end. Don't forget, besides Li Minggong, there is still the black-robed warrior. He is the most terrifying. Below the arena, the black-robed warrior first bandaged Lu Lizzie's hands, then turned his gaze to the arena. The black-robed warrior knew very well that Li Minggong was not weak. When he was at the peak of the true martial realm, he had defeated a mid-primal core warrior. Now that he had advanced to the early primal core stage, his strength must have increased. In the eyes of the black-robed warrior, as long as there were no accidents, Li Minggong would definitely win. Puffed. Suddenly, the sound of a mouthful of fresh blood rang out in the arena, attracting everyone's attention. What? How is this possible? This is 2F** Ket up. How'd he do it? I don't know. This speed is too abnormal. Even a peak primal core warrior might not be able to be this fast. The situation in the arena had indeed caused the warriors in the area to gape slightly, their faces full of confusion. They had never thought that things would develop in such a dramatic way. Originally, they thought that this battle would last for a long time. Who would have thought that in just a few minutes, the battle would be over? Hee, the wrath of the heaven-slaying fist is only SOSO. Slowly withdrawing his feet from Li Minggong's chest, Ning Yu took a few steps back and said with a faint smile, I seem to have heard someone say that if I don't admit defeat, he will cripple my hands. Ning Yu stretched out his hands and continued, My hands are right here. If you have the ability, you can come over and cripple them. You. Puffed. Being mocked by Ning Yu, Li Minggong raised his right hand and pointed at Ning Yu. He wanted to say something, but opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. Li Minggong was very angry now. He was so angry that he wanted to start a massacre in Wu Tuo City. Just now, when he was not paying attention, Ning Yu came to his side and then kicked him in the chest. If he had not reacted in time, he would have been kicked off the arena. Even so, he was seriously injured. His internal organs felt like there was a ball of fire burning, causing him to be unable to continue attacking. Ning Yu, cripple Li Minggong's hands, and then cripple his cultivation. Crippling his cultivation and hands is too easy for Li Minggong. In my opinion, Li Minggong should also be crippled and let him crawl back to Lanqing country. If he crawls, isn't he no different from Toad? Ha. Originally, Li Minggong felt a ball of fire burning in his chest. Now, hearing the mocking words of the warriors around him, he spat out another mouthful of blood. After spitting out the blood, Li Minggong's face revealed an extremely gloomy expression. He had lost all face. This time, he had really lost all his face. Not only had he lost to the hands of the late-stage, true martial realm Ningyu, but had also been ridiculed by the Wood City warriors. This was unbearable. Li Minggang, I'm very sorry. Crippling your cultivation and limbs was the will of the Wood City warriors. I had no other choice. Ningyu shrugged and walked towards Li Minggang step by step. Dong, dong. Ningyu walked very slowly. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on Li Minggang's body, causing Li Minggang's expression to become more and more unsightly. Big brother, quickly go and save second brother. Lu Lizzie saw Ningyu's actions and hurriedly said, No hurry, wait a little longer. I can feel that there are warriors rushing over here. Taking a deep breath, the black-robed warrior stood on the spot and did not move. Big brother, if you don't make a move now, it will be too late. Lu Lizzie naturally could not feel the warriors rushing over here as he continued to shout. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure swept out from the entrance of the square and appeared in the sky above the arena in an instant. This figure floated above the arena, his gaze sweeping across the crowd of warriors. Chapter 413. Feng Zi's Arrogance. Ningyu, this is Wutuo City. How dare you open an arena and provoke the dignity of the imperial family? After seeing Ningyu, the martial artist above the arena had a gloomy expression and berated, I advise you to surrender, otherwise Danwu College will not be able to protect you. Who is this martial artist? Why is he so arrogant? Arrogant? He has the right to be arrogant. To tell you the truth, he is the first prince. First prince? Even the first prince can't frame Ningyu. You should know that this arena is not bad. Before the last martial artist finished speaking, his expression changed greatly. He hurriedly retreated, wanting to avoid the cold light that was coming towards him. However, his cultivation was only at the middle stage of the true martial realm, so his speed was obviously much slower than the cold light. Poochie! In the next moment, the cold light hit the martial artist's chest. The sweet taste of blood came from his throat, causing him to spit out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his entire body was on the verge of collapse. Humph! Where did this Tom, Dick, and Harry come from? How dare you talk back when I'm speaking? With a cold snort, the first prince above the arena said angrily, Fine, I haven't fought for a long time, and many people have forgotten about me. Today, I'll start with you. Immediately, the first prince's eyes turned cold, and his figure rushed out. In the blink of an eye, the first prince appeared next to the middle stage, true martial realm martial artist, and his right hand carried a violent fluctuation of origin energy as it fiercely smashed towards the middle stage, true martial realm martial artist's chest. The first prince's attack was powerful and heavy, not to mention a middle stage, true martial realm martial artist. Even a late-stage, true martial realm martial artist might not be able to withstand it. First prince, I was wrong. Looking at the fist that was approaching him, the middle-stage, true martial realm martial artist opened his mouth slightly and hurriedly begged for mercy. Bang! However, before the middle-stage, true martial realm martial artist could finish his words, his eyes widened, and his face was filled with disbelief. Before he knew it, a thin figure had appeared in front of him. This thin figure raised his palm and blocked the first prince's fatal attack for him. Ningyu retracted his palm and said indifferently, If you have anything to say, just say it. There's no need to resort to violence. Having been easily blocked by Ningyu, the first prince felt his face burning. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. Although he did not use his full strength in that move, he still used 60% of his strength. However, Ningyu easily blocked it. Didn't that mean that Ningyu's strength had increased a lot compared to when he was in the capital? At the thought of this, the first prince's expression darkened completely. He had originally thought that after advancing to the early primal core stage, he would be able to easily defeat Ningyu. But now it seemed that he had been overthinking things. Taking a deep breath, the first prince said coldly, Let's not talk about that piece of trash for now. Let's talk about your arrogant behavior. Oh, first prince, why don't you tell me about my arrogant behavior? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and shrugged his shoulders. Humph. I've already said that you set up an arena in Wu Tuo City and openly challenged the dignity of the royal family. This crime is punishable by death, the first prince said coldly. As he spoke, the first prince's gaze moved slowly around and continued, "Whoever dares to speak up for Ningyu will be charged the same." Swoosh. This time, no one dared to speak up for Ningyu. If the charges were the same, didn't that mean that whoever spoke up for Ningyu would also have their 9 generations executed? Most of the people around were here to watch the show. Once their own safety was involved, what righteousness? To hell with it. You're the first prince? At this moment, a disdainful voice sounded. Swoosh. Hearing this voice, the surrounding martial artists shifted their gazes away and looked in the direction of the voice. It's the man who came with Ningyu. Who is he? Why does he dare to speak up for Ningyu? Not sure. I've been in Wu Tuo City for so many years and have never seen him before. No matter what, someone who dares to speak up for Ningyu at this time definitely has a backer or formidable strength himself. The words that came from the surrounding martial artists clearly did not affect Fengzi, only to see him twist his neck and slowly walk over to Ningyu's side. After a long while, Fengzi came to Ningyu's side and stared at the first prince with interest. The corners of his mouth curled up as he said indifferently, "The Great Xia Kingdom is considered one of the top empires in the mystic moon continent. To think that the first prince of an empire is only at the early stage of primal core. TSK. With this cultivation, the Great Xia Kingdom will probably bleed again in the next imperial family contest." Courting death. Being mocked by Fengzi in front of so many people, the first prince's face turned livid. He gave a low shout and immediately leaped up, wanting to teach Fengzi a lesson. What? Making a move just because of a disagreement? Seeing the first prince's action, Fengzi yelled out, "Murder! The first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom is murdering someone. It doesn't matter if you are from the Great Xia Kingdom, the Lanqing Kingdom, or the Autumn Wind Kingdom. Come over and take a look. The dignified first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom is about to kill someone." Fengzi's voice contained violent essence force ripples, which nearly caused all the martial artists in Wu Tuo City to hear clearly. This shout instantly caused the originally quiet Wu Tuo City to burst into an uproar. Damn, who is barking like a dog? Can't you let me sleep? It doesn't seem like a dog barking. It seems to be related to the first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom. Quickly go to Wu Tuo City's plaza. The voice is coming from there. Yes, quickly go and take a look. I heard that the prodigy martial artists of Wu Tuo City have set up an arena there. The originally quiet Wu Tuo City was bustling again because of Fengzi's shout. Many martial artists left their residences and rushed towards the plaza. This is too shameless. The corner of Ningyu's mouth involuntarily twitched a few times. He took a small step back and distanced himself from Fengzi. But Fengzi's method was indeed effective. The first prince stood where he was, his face livid. He did not know whether to make a move or not. He fell into a dilemma. If he were to make a move and kill Fengzi, then it would be a solid crime of killing the innocent. It would be extremely disadvantageous to his future fight for the position of crown prince. If he did not make a move, in another few minutes, there would definitely be a large number of martial artists surging over. At that time, it would be very difficult for him to step down. Big brother, isn't this first prince too weak? If it were a prince of the Lanqing Kingdom, he would have long started a massacre. Below the arena, Lu Lizzie said doubtfully, "In the Lanqing Kingdom, if anyone dared to speak to the first prince like that, that was courting death. There was once a primordial core stage martial artist who provoked the fourth prince's prestige. The fourth prince did not say a word and directly beheaded him. Later, it was found out that the primordial core stage martial artist who was beheaded by the fourth prince was the third young master of a first-rate force in the Lanqing Kingdom. In the end, under the powerful pressure of the imperial family, this matter was left unsettled. Chapter 414. Battle, Big Brother. We can stay out of the grudge between Ningyu and the first prince, but second brother is still in the arena. Lu Lizzie said anxiously as he pointed at Li Minggang. This is troublesome. Hearing Lu Lizzie's words, the black-robed cultivator fell into deep thought. With Li Minggang's current condition, it would be very difficult for him to walk down the stage by himself. He needed help, and at this critical juncture, it was not appropriate for him to go up. In the worst-case scenario, the first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom and Ningyu might surround and annihilate him. After all, he was the one who had set up this arena. By doing this, the first prince could redeem his image. After thinking for a while, the black-robed cultivator said, "Let's wait and see first. If it does not work, I will go up and receive Li Minggang." That's the only way. Lu Lizzie sighed. At the same time, the first prince, who was not far away, was breathing heavily. He was on the verge of exploding with rage. However, he forcefully suppressed the rage in his heart and said in a deep voice, "Ningyu, I challenge you now. Do you dare to accept?" The first prince's words immediately caused a huge commotion in the surroundings. The first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom actually wanted to challenge Ningyu. This news was too explosive. The Imperial Clan and Danwu College were the two superpowers in the Great Xia Kingdom. Ningyu was a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College, while the first prince was a top genius of the imperial family. Although this battle was not the most terrifying, it would definitely attract the most attention. "You want to challenge me?" Ningyu frowned slightly at the first prince's challenge and said calmly, "Are you qualified?" Whoosh! Ningyu's undisguised ridicule immediately silenced the entire area. This kind of silence was extremely frightening. Even the sound of breathing could be heard clearly. "You're saying that I'm not qualified?" After a short moment of silence, the first prince pointed at his nose, his face filled with disbelief. "Hey, are your ears okay?" Right at this moment, Fengzi yelled out before he sighed, "Sigh, I didn't expect the dignified first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom to actually be deaf. Truly lamentable." Courting death. After being ridiculed by Fengzi again and again, the eldest imperial prince finally could not take it anymore. In the next moment, he leaped up, and his body transformed into an afterimage as he charged towards Fengzi. "Sigh, I didn't want to make a move, but you forced me to make a move." Fengzi clearly did not think much of the eldest prince. Seeing that the eldest prince was about to reach him, he sighed and had no intention of attacking. "Ningyu, don't you think that the eldest prince is a fool?" Not only did Fengzi not attack, he even started chatting with Ningyu. "Let me give you a word of advice. The first prince is very powerful. If you don't use your trump card, you'll only be able to fight him to a draw at most. You might even lose to him." After saying these words, Ningyu's figure flashed and directly arrived at Xikong Ling and Xiao Yu's side. Ningyu had exchanged blows with the eldest imperial prince and Fengzi before, so he could naturally determine who was stronger and who was weaker. Fengzi had a trump card, and so did the eldest imperial prince. Under the premise that neither side used their trump cards, they were evenly matched, and the eldest imperial prince was even slightly stronger. After all, he was more familiar with Fengzi, so Ningyu spoke up to remind him. As for whether he listened or not, it had nothing to do with him. F***CK. Why didn't you say so earlier? Fengzi could not help but swear. Not daring to be negligent, he immediately channeled essence into his wrist and unavoidably collided with the eldest imperial prince's fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, Fengzi only felt an enormous force coming from his fist, causing him to retreat several steps before stabilizing his figure. On the other hand, the eldest imperial prince retreated 3 steps before stopping. "You dare to be arrogant with such little ability? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror?" After gaining the upper hand in one blow, the eldest imperial prince mocked back. "Good, very good. You've completely infuriated me." Clenching his fists tightly, Fengzi's expression was gloomy. If not for Ningyu's reminder, he would probably be in a worse state than he was now. He did not expect that the eldest imperial prince, who was only at the early primal core stage, would be so powerful. "Fight!" As the word fight came out of his mouth, Fengzi directly leaped onto the arena. The meaning was self-evident. Let's fight. Who's afraid of who? Having lost face in front of Feng Zi, the eldest imperial prince must get it back. With a leap, he also jumped onto the arena. Where did this trash come from? Hurry up and scram off the arena. After jumping onto the arena, Feng Zi looked at Li Minggang, who was at the edge of the arena, and kicked him off the arena. Swoosh! Before Li Minggang landed on the ground, the black-robed martial artist dashed out and caught him firmly. This is too much, really too much. Lu Lizzie said furiously, Big brother, this Feng Zi is too much, in my opinion. Shut up. Before Lu Lizzie could finish his sentence, the black-robed martial artist scolded. From now on, don't speak without my permission. Lu Lizzie was a little dumbfounded, but he still tactfully shut his mouth. Knowing how to endure, not simple. Seeing the black-robed martial artist's behavior, Ningyu could not help but look up to him. Actually, Feng Zi kicking Li Minggang off the arena was entirely his idea, in order to test the black-robed martial artist. The black-robed martial artist was also a genius of the Lanqing country, and from how Lu Lizzie addressed him, he knew that he was Big Brother. Lu Lizzie and Li Minggang were not weak, so it could be seen that the black-robed martial artist's strength was definitely not weak. Strength was not scary. Knowing how to endure was not scary. What was scary was being able to endure and having great strength. The black-robed martial artist was obviously the latter. Ningyu, is Feng Zi a match for the eldest imperial prince? Looking at the two martial artists on the arena, Xikong Ling hurriedly asked. Feng Zi tended to Xikong Ling's hands, so Xikong Ling was naturally more concerned about Feng Zi's safety. Don't worry, it's almost impossible for the eldest imperial prince to defeat Feng Zi in a short period of time. Ningyu said, if Feng Zi were to use his trump card, the outcome of the battle would be uncertain. This lunatic, no. Where did Feng Zi come from? Xiaoyu asked doubtfully. I'm not sure about the specifics. I met him outside of Wutua City. Shaking his head, Ningyu said, there's one thing I can be sure of. Feng Zi is not from the Great Xia country. Not from the Great Xia country? Slightly startled, Xiaoyu continued, why would he fight with the eldest imperial prince? Don't ask about this for now. As for where he came from, I already have a guess in my heart. Let's wait and see for now. Ningyu said. Rumble. Suddenly, there was a loud explosion. Ningyu hurriedly looked towards the source of the sound, only to see that Feng Zi and the eldest imperial prince were already fighting on the arena. Under the premise that neither of them used their trump cards, Feng Zi and the eldest imperial prince were evenly matched, and it would be difficult to determine the victor in a short period of time. Therefore, Ningyu only watched for a while before shifting his gaze away and casually observing. Swoosh! However, just as Ningyu's gaze shifted to the edge of the plaza, it stopped. Chapter 4:15. Wind chasing palm? He discovered me? At the edge of the square, an old man raised his eyebrows when he felt Ningyu's gaze on him for a second, feeling slightly surprised. This old man was none other than the expert who had rushed over from Ivory City with the first prince, Mo Xing. It shouldn't be possible. My concealment technique is also one of the best in the imperial family. Other than those few old monsters, very few people can discover me. Soon, Mo Xing shook his head and muttered, Ningyu is a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. I'm afraid Danwu College will send someone to Wutua City. I just don't know who they will send this time. Then, Mo Xing looked at the first prince and Feng Zi, who were fighting in the arena. Among the many princes, the first prince was the strongest, other than two who were especially good at enduring. In Mo Xing's opinion, it was only a matter of time before the first prince won. However, Mo Xing still had some doubts. He was doubtful about Feng Zi's identity. The cultivation technique that Feng Zi displayed is somewhat similar to a certain cultivation technique of the Lanqing nation. Mo Xing frowned and said, if I'm not wrong, Feng Zi should be from the Lanqing nation. That black-robe martial artist is not weak either. He can even be compared to the first prince. Looking at the black-robed martial artist next to Lu Lizzie, and Mo Xing said in a deep voice. Since the martial artists of the Lanqing nation dare to come to the Dacian nation and behave atrociously, it seems that they already know about the corpse insect's actions. Bang! At the same time, on the arena, Feng Zi and the first prince separated as soon as they clashed, standing on opposite sides of the arena. Feng Zi panted heavily, his expression gloomy and uncertain. Ningyu was right. The first prince was indeed very strong. If he did not use his trump card, he would definitely not be a match for the first prince. However, Feng Zi didn't want to use his trump card now. Once he used his trump card, many people would know his identity, and this was obviously not what he wanted. Hee, your strength is only this little? I really don't know where you get the courage to be so arrogant. The first prince shrugged and said with a faint smile, Oomph, you're not much better either. Didn't you also fail to defeat me? Feng Zi said with a cold snort. You got a sharp tongue. I was just testing my strength. If you don't admit defeat, I won't let you see tomorrow's sun. The first prince said gloomily. You want me to not see the sun tomorrow? Since that's the case, I'll make you unable to see the moon tonight. Feng Zi said coldly, not showing any weakness at all. Then let's fight. Taking a deep breath, the eldest prince dashed out again to fight Feng Zi. Compared to the previous battle, this time, the first prince had clearly used his trump card, causing Feng Zi to be unable to defend himself. What's going on? Just now, Feng Zi was still able to fight to a draw with the first prince. Why is he suddenly at a disadvantage? You don't even know that? Look at the first prince's palm technique. Palm technique? What palm technique is that? Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators all looked at the first prince. On the arena, the first prince's palm swayed back and forth. In an instant, his palm became illusory. Wind-chasing palm. It's actually the wind-chasing palm. What's the wind-chasing palm? The wind-chasing palm is the imperial family's unique palm technique, a high-grade heaven rank martial technique. Its power is incomparably powerful. That's right, the wind-chasing palm speed is extremely fast, fast until it dazzles people's eyes. Swoosh! Below the arena, when Sikong Ling saw the first prince execute the wind-chasing palm, his expression darkened with a swoosh. As the young master of the black market, he had naturally witnessed the power of the wind-chasing palm before. The wind-chasing palm had a total of 3 forms. The first form could execute 5 illusory palm prints, the second form could execute 10, and the third form could execute 20. The most crucial thing was that among these palm prints, there was only one with the strongest strength, which was the first prince's intrinsic palm print. The power of the remaining palm prints was much weaker. Wind-chasing palm, huh? Looks like I have to execute my trump card. Facing the first prince's hands that were constantly changing, Feng Zi's expression became solemn. Feng Zi, with the first prince's strength, he can only execute the second form of the wind-chasing palm, which is 10 illusory palm prints. Suddenly, a voice sounded by Feng Zi's ear, causing Feng Zi to be slightly startled. Immediately, he wanted to turn his head to look. Don't look, continue fighting with the first prince. I'll tell you which palm print is his intrinsic palm print. At that time, you just have to focus on attacking and don't care about anything else. Ningyu said again, pay attention to my words. Feng Zi's heart thumped, and he could not help but be somewhat dazed. The wind-chasing palm was a high-grade heaven rank martial technique. Even he did not dare say that he could be 100% sure which palm print was the intrinsic palm print. How did Ningyu know? It's not good to be distracted right now. Just at this moment, the first prince smiled slightly and suddenly pushed both his hands out. In a split second, 5 palm prints rushed out, rumbling towards Feng Zi with an extremely shocking speed. Damn it! Cursing inwardly, Feng Zi hurriedly retreated. At the same time, violent Yuan Shi appeared on his palm, wanting to use brute force to repel the 5 palm prints in front of him. Feng Zi, the palm print on the left is real, the rest are all illusions. At the critical moment, Ning Yu's words sounded by Feng Zi's ear. Hearing that, Feng Zi gritted his teeth and used all the strength in his body to smash towards the palm print on the left. The wind-chasing palm has 5 illusory palm prints, unless the strength of your soul reaches what? After displaying the first form of the wind-chasing palm, the first prince smiled slightly. Just as he was about to speak, his expression changed drastically, because he realized that Feng Zi's fist was smashing towards the leftmost palm print. Crack! The fist and palm print came into contact, and in almost an instant the palm print shattered. At the same time, Feng Zi continued to attack, his right hand smashing straight towards him. Not good. The first prince's heart trembled, and he hurriedly retreated. He had never thought that Feng Zi could discover which palm print was real. Could it be that Feng Zi's soul strength had reached grade 6? Or grade 7? Mo Xing said before that a martial artist who could discover the true palm print of the wind-chasing palm, the soul strength would at least be grade 6. No matter how he looked at it, Feng Zi's soul strength had not reached grade 6. At most, it was only grade 5 beginner stage. However, Feng Zi could clearly determine which was the real palm print. Could it be that he had guessed it? Thinking up to here, the first prince retreated as his hands once again changed forms. This time, the first prince decided to display the second form of the wind-chasing palm. Following the first prince's hands constantly changing forms, in the next instant, 10 palm prints shot out in front of him in a row, appearing in front of Feng Zi in an instant. Retreat. Seeing the 10 illusory palm prints attacking towards him, Feng Zi's first thought was to retreat quickly. However, Feng Zi had just retreated 3 steps when Ning Yu's voice sounded by his ear once again. Feng Zi, the palm print in the middle is the real one. Chapter 416. Leaving the arena. It's all right. The other 9 palm prints can't do anything to me. Taking a deep breath, Feng Zi took a step forward and advanced instead of retreating. Wave-splitting palm. The next moment, his hands quickly formed several seals, and his aura rose once again, approaching the mid-primal core stage. Feng Zi's original cultivation was the same as the first prince's early primal core stage. After his aura rose, he actually showed signs of breaking through to the mid-primal core stage. The moment his palms changed, a huge palm print descended from the sky. As Feng Zi's hands pressed down, this huge palm print blasted towards the first prince. Buzz. The moment the palm print landed, the entire space above the arena seemed to tremble, and a faint buzzing sound suddenly rang out. Wave-splitting palm. It's actually the wave-splitting palm. The wave-splitting palm is also a high heaven-level martial arts technique. It's incomparably powerful, not any weaker than the first prince's wind-chasing palm. Who exactly is this Feng Zi? How can he even use a martial arts technique like the wave-splitting palm? Do you even need to ask? He must be the young master of some hidden sect or family. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to have a high heaven-level martial arts technique. That's right. I just don't know who will win between Feng Zi and the first prince. The first prince's wind-chasing palm has a total of 10 palm prints. The first prince smiled slightly at the surrounding warriors' discussion, not taking it to heart. Although the wave-splitting palm was also a high heaven-level martial arts technique, it was slightly weaker than his wind-chasing palm. Feng Zi, if this is all you've got, then I'm sorry. Today you're destined to drink. What? However, before the first prince could finish his sentence, his eyes widened, and his face was filled with confusion. Feng Zi's wave-splitting palm completely ignored the few wind-chasing palm prints in front of it, and instead went straight for the wind-chasing palm in the middle. Crack! The 2 palms collided, and the result was obvious. Swoosh! After dispersing the first prince's real palm print, Feng Zi did not stop and immediately retreated. Although he said that the other 9 palm prints could not do anything to him, Feng Zi was very clear that without using his trump card, he could not possibly block the other 9 palm prints. This is impossible. Seeing that the real palm imprint had been shattered, the first prince stood rooted to the ground in a daze. He had forgotten to control the remaining 9 palm imprints to attack Feng Zi. The first move of the wind-chasing palm had been dispersed by Feng Zi, but the first imperial prince did not think much of it, thinking that Feng Zi had made a wild guess. However, the real palm imprint of the second form of the wind-chasing palm was once again dispersed by Feng Zi. The eldest prince was a little confused. Now, he could basically conclude that Feng Zi was not making a wild guess. Instead, he really did know which palm imprint was the real one. Ningyu, it's all thanks to you this time. I, Feng Zi, owe you a favor. As long as you have a use for me. Feng Zi hurriedly transmitted his voice to Ningyu after stabilizing himself. Shut up, someone has noticed us. However, before Feng Zi could finish his sentence, Ningyu shouted in a low voice. Feng Zi was a little stunned when he heard Ningyu's words, but he still chose to keep his mouth shut. Ningyu's perception was very strong. Since he said that someone had noticed them, it was most likely true. Could I have guessed wrong? At the same time, at the edge of the square, Mo Xing frowned as his perception swept across Ningyu's body unscrupulously. After a while, Mo Xing withdrew his perception unwillingly. There is indeed something wrong with Feng Zi. In the last imperial battle, someone from the Lanqing nation used the wave-splitting palm. Could Feng Zi be a member of the Lanqing nation's imperial family? Since he could not find any clues on Ningyu, Mo Xing simply shifted his attention to Feng Zi, hoping to find some clues. However, after observing for a while, Mo Xing's face was full of disappointment, and he even began to doubt his own detection technique. This was because he still could not find anything on Feng Zi. First Prince, we can't delay the matter in Ivory City any longer. We have to rush back to the capital as soon as possible and report the ins and outs of the matter to the Emperor. After feeling vexed, Mo Xing sent a message to the First Prince. Originally, Mo Xing did not approve of the eldest imperial prince coming to Wuta City. In his opinion, the arena set up by the three young geniuses of the Lanqing nation was nothing, and there was no need for him to care about it. Who would have thought that the eldest imperial prince would insist on coming? He had no choice but to follow. When he arrived, he realized that the reason the eldest imperial prince wanted to come to Wuta City was definitely because of Ningyu. Senior Mo Xing, the matter in Ivory City is related to Ningyu. In my opinion, we should bring him back to the capital. The eldest imperial prince said fiercely. Originally, the eldest imperial prince wanted to kill Feng Zi first, then defeat Ningyu, and bring Ningyu back to the capital. Unexpectedly, Feng Zi was so powerful that he had completely disrupted his plan. According to his guess, he would not be able to gain any advantage if the battle continued. Therefore, when he heard Mo Xing's words, he was happy to have a way out. Shaking his head, Mo Xing said, "It's not realistic to even bring Ningyu back to the country. I can feel that an old monster from Danwu College is nearby, and his strength is no weaker than mine." Someone from Danwu College also came. Hearing this, the eldest imperial prince was slightly startled and immediately said, "Ningyu is related to the matter in Ivory City. Even if someone from Danwu College comes, we can still bring him back to the capital, right?" Eldest imperial prince, you think this matter is too simple. Ningyu is a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College. The people from Danwu College will definitely protect him, Mo Xing said in a deep voice. Besides, Ningyu has not colluded with the martial artists of the Corpsine sect. Even if we bring him back to the capital, we won't be able to find anything. On the contrary, we will offend Danwu College. The battle for the royal family is coming soon. It is extremely disadvantageous for us to offend Danwu College at this juncture. In the previous battles for the royal family, Danwu College would send powerhouses to follow us in order to support us so that our high-end combat power is not weaker than the other empires. With the passing of the older generation of powerhouses, the high-end combat power of the royal family is declining year by year. Isn't there still the old ancestor? The eldest imperial prince asked doubtfully. The old ancestor has to guard the capital. Without him, the Great Xia Kingdom would have changed hands long ago. Mo Xing continued. Listen to me. Return to the capital immediately. As for the three little geniuses of the Lan Qing kingdom, leave them to Ningyu. The eldest imperial prince stood on the ring with a gloomy expression. In the next moment, he glared at Feng Zi fiercely and jumped off the ring. What is the eldest imperial prince doing? I don't know. He jumped off the ring on his own. Is he admitting defeat? Impossible. Although Feng Zi blocked the second style of the wind-chasing palm, the eldest imperial prince still hasn't displayed the third style of the wind-chasing palm. The eldest imperial prince taking the initiative to leave the ring obviously caused a great uproar in the surroundings. Many of the martial artists discussed animatedly, their words filled with shock. Look, the eldest imperial prince is walking towards Ningyu. Suddenly, someone shouted loudly, pulling everyone's thoughts back to reality. Chapter 417. Backing first prince, what is he going to do? I'm not sure. Is he going to challenge Ningyu again? That's not possible. After all, the outcome of his battle with Feng Zi has not been decided yet. It would be unreasonable for him to challenge Ningyu now. That's right. When the first prince wanted to challenge Ningyu for the first time, Ningyu said that the first prince was not qualified. Compared to the battle between Feng Zi and the first prince, I would rather see the battle between Ningyu and the first prince. The battle between the two geniuses of the Great Xia Kingdom is enough to make one's blood boil. Let's wait and see. Seeing the first prince walk towards Ningyu, no one said anything about him admitting defeat or saying that he was not a match for Feng Zi. Instead, the focus of everyone's discussion was on the first prince and Ningyu. Originally, the martial artist on the stage was not Feng Zi, but Ningyu. Who would have thought that Feng Zi would suddenly appear and exchange a few moves with the first prince? Now that the first prince was going to clash with Ningyu, everyone was pleasantly surprised. The crowd's mentality was to watch a good show. First prince, our duel is not over yet. Where are you going? At this moment, Feng Zi, who was on the stage, shouted. His figure flashed and stood in front of the first prince. Feng Zi raised his eyebrows and revealed a smile. The first prince of the Great Xia Kingdom is not afraid of me, right? If you are afraid, tell me earlier. I will be merciful. Get out of the way, the first prince said indifferently without any joy or sorrow. Get out of the way. Feng Zi's lips curled up. What if I don't? Feng Zi, don't block the first prince's path. Let him come over, Ningyu said as he took a step forward. Hearing Ningyu's words, Feng Zi was a little embarrassed. However, he still chose to give in after scratching his head. Before he gave in, Feng Zi did not forget to glare at the first prince. Ningyu, I know what happened in Ivory City is related to you. Coming up to Ningyu, the great prince said in a low voice, return to the capital with me. I will plead on your behalf before father. Ha ha ha. Ningyu looked up to the sky and laughed loudly. He looked at the first prince as if he was looking at a fool and sneered. What did I do in Ivory City? Ask you to plead for me in front of the emperor? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror to see if you're good enough? Whoosh. When Ningyu said this, the surrounding cultivators all held their breaths, not even daring to breathe loudly. Ningyu was getting more and more arrogant. Last time, he said that the first prince was not qualified to challenge him. This time, he was even more outrageous. He actually wanted the first prince to pee and look at himself in the mirror. Any normal person would not be able to endure it. Naturally, the first prince could not stand it either. The first prince's chest was heaving up and down, and he said coldly, You will pay for what you said today. Don't talk nonsense with me here. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Don't get in my way. Ningyu waved his hand and said arrogantly, You. The first prince was so angry that his face turned green. Ningyu did not give him any face at all, which made him very angry. After a short period of anger, the first prince regained his composure and said to Ningyu in a low voice, You destroyed my child mother rings. I will make you pay for it. Are you talking to me? Ningyu looked around, then pointed at his nose and said, Why did you use telepathy? Isn't it just the child mother rings? Why can't you let everyone know about it? What do you mean? What does Ningyu mean? Are you stupid or have you heard wrong? It is obvious that the first prince does not want us to hear something, so he used telepathy. Telepathy? What is the child mother rings? I heard someone say that the child mother rings are upper heaven level magic treasures. They are extremely powerful. The words of the surrounding ancient martial art practitioners reached the first prince's ears, causing his expression to turn even more grim. Crack! Clenching his fists, the first prince said coldly, "Ningyu, I will ask you one last time. Are you coming back to the capital with me?" Shrugging, Ningyu did not comment. Good, very good. You will regret what you did today. At this moment, the first prince was surprisingly calm. He was terrifyingly calm. Regret? Ningyu asked. Tianxian City is a good place. The Ning family in Tianxian City is a good family, the first prince said with a smile. Swoosh. Hearing this, Ningyu's face darkened instantly. Judging from what the first prince said, he wanted to attack his family. Obviously, this was something he could not tolerate. At this moment, the Ning family in Tianxian City only had martial artists of the true martial realm. The first prince only needed to send a martial artist of the primordial core realm to destroy the Ning family. If you dare to touch the Ning family, I will make you suffer. Ningyu said coldly. You want me to suffer the consequences? What? Don't tell me you want to kill me. The first prince's lips curled into an arc, and he laughed evilly. I'm standing right here. Come and kill me. Don't say that I did not give you a chance. As he spoke, the first prince even smiled disdainfully. Forcefully suppressing the anger in his heart, Ningyu looked at the edge of the square where Emo Xing was. Ningyu could almost determine that the martial artist had come with the first prince. In other words, he was the first prince's backer. If he dared to kill the first prince here, even if he severely injured the first prince, that martial artist would definitely not stand idly by. Based on his initial judgment, that martial artist was at least at the advanced yin-yang stage. With Ningyu's current strength, going against him was tantamount to courting death. Sometimes, patience was more important than impulsiveness. Don't worry, Danwu College will always be your strong shield. Suddenly, a soft voice rang in Ningyu's ear, causing Ningyu to be slightly stunned. Who are you? Ningyu asked in a low voice. Who I am is not important. What's important is the Ning family in Tianxian City. I have already sent someone over. You have nothing to worry about. That mysterious voice rang in Ningyu's ear again. As for the martial artist at the edge of the square, you don't have to worry. With me around, he will not dare to touch you. All right, since that's the case, I have nothing to worry about, Ningyu said solemnly after taking a deep breath. Actually, when that mysterious voice rang out, Ningyu had already roughly guessed his identity. He must be one of the higher-ups of Danwu College. With a backer that was no weaker than the first prince's, Ningyu straightened his back and said coldly to the first prince, Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Oh, come at me then. Don't be so glib. Oh no. The first prince laughed sinisterly. Just as he was about to mock Ningyu, his expression changed drastically and he hurriedly retreated. However, the speed at which the first prince retreated was clearly too slow. He had only taken 3 steps back when Ningyu had already arrived in front of him. Bang! Ningyu raised his right hand, bringing with it a violent gust of yuan qi. It slammed into the first prince's chest with an unavoidable force. Chapter 4:18. Humiliation. As his body hit the hard ground, the first prince felt a sweetness in his throat before he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The first prince spat out a mouthful of blood, causing the martial artists in the area to be in an uproar. The crowd first looked at the first prince, and then shifted their gazes to Ningyu. Isn't Ningyu a little too bold? He beat the first prince up in front of so many people. Isn't he afraid of being hunted down by the royal family? Hunted down by the royal family? Can the first prince represent the royal family? This time, the opinions of the martial artists in the area were divided. Some supported the first prince, while others supported Ningyu. After all, Ningyu had defeated the 2 geniuses from the Lanqing country, and the first prince was making things difficult for Ningyu. Ningyu, you have guts. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the first prince climbed up from the ground with difficulty and said coldly, "Our mountains will not change, and the rivers will continue to flow. We will meet again." As he spoke, the first prince limped out of the square. "Did I ask you to leave?" However, the first prince had only taken a few steps when Ningyu's voice rang in his ears. Then, Ningyu's figure flashed and landed steadily in front of the first prince. "What do you want?" Looking at Ningyu, who had suddenly appeared in front of him, the first prince said in a low voice, "I don't want anything. I just want you to swear to the heavens that you will never target the Ning family in Tianxian City," Ningyu said calmly. "You want me to swear to the heavens?" The first prince's mouth was slightly agape as he pointed at his nose and smiled. "Have you lost your mind, or are you suffering from epilepsy?" Then, the first prince changed the topic and said coldly, "Ever since I was born, no one has dared to force me to swear to the heavens." "Oh, in that case, I am the first," Ningyu said calmly without changing his expression. "You." The first prince was so angry that his face turned green. Ningyu was looking down on him, which made him very angry. He wanted to kill Ningyu right here and now. However, the first prince knew very well that with his current abilities, he was definitely not a match for Ningyu. However, making him swear a heavenly Tao oath, he would never agree to it. Right at this moment, Ningyu took a step forward, arrived before the first prince, and asked, "First prince, what's your decision? You should just give up on that thought. You want me to swear an oath to the Tao of the heavens, unless you kill me." The first prince said coldly, his tone unquestionable, "Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you?" Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and all the primordial qi in his body surged out, trying to suppress the first prince. The first prince did not dare to be careless when faced with the overwhelming essence qi pressure. As he retreated, he unleashed his aura. Chi. In the next moment, a look of shock appeared in the first prince's eyes, and his body fell backward. Bang! As he fell to the ground once more, the first prince's eyes revealed a vicious expression. He secretly resolved that so long as he was able to leave Wutuo City and return to the capital, he would surely send experts to kill Ningyu at the first possible moment. First prince. At the edge of the square, Mo Xing's figure flashed with the intention of charging out when he saw the first prince being struck down once more. "Haha, Mo Xing. There's no need for you to interfere in a spar between two juniors, right?" However, before Mo Xing could charge out, a figure approached from afar and appeared before him in the blink of an eye. After this figure appeared, he first smiled lightly, and then he said, "Ningyu is a core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute, and the first prince is a top genius of the imperial family. Both of them can learn from each other and improve each other." Dan Heezy. When he saw the figure that suddenly appeared before him, Mo Xing's face instantly turned gloomy, and he said coldly, "Spar? Is there such a spar? It's obvious that the first prince is no match for Ningyu. If this goes on, the first prince will definitely be in danger." At this point, Mo Xing pointed to the first prince, who was not far away, and continued, "If something were to happen to the first prince, would you be able to bear the responsibility?" "Haha. The first prince is no match for Ningyu. Why can't I see that?" Dan Heezy smiled and said, "If the first prince is no match for Ningyu, he can admit defeat or make a heavenly oath." As the first prince, the future emperor of the great Xia kingdom, you actually want him to admit defeat? You want him to make a heavenly oath? Mo Xing coldly snorted. "Since that's the case, there's nothing I can do." Dan Heezy shrugged and chose to close his eyes to recuperate. Damn it! Dan Heezy's actions made Mo Xing extremely angry, but there was nothing he could do. In terms of cultivation, he and Dan Heezy were both late-stage yin-yang realm, but Dan Heezy's soul force was much stronger than his. If they fought, he would definitely not be Dan Heezy's match. Mo Xing practically gnashed his teeth and said, "Dan Heezy, tell me, what do I have to do to make Ningyu stop?" After a moment of silence, Dan Heezy said, "How about this, a heaven-rank high-grade artifact? What the F***CK? Why don't you go rob someone?" Hearing that, Mo Xing cried out with a dumbfounded expression on her face. Heaven-rank high-grade artifacts were extremely precious. Even he, who was at late-stage yin-yang realm, only had 2 of them. Moreover, one of them was his natal flying sword. Now, he wanted him to give one to Ningyu. He was not willing no matter what. And Mo Xing, this is already a friendship price. A heaven-rank high-grade artifact in exchange for the first prince's life. No matter how I look at it, you've made a profit. When he saw Mo Xing's reaction, Dan Heezy continued. Moreover, you're saving the eldest prince. When you return to the capital, you could take a high-grade heaven-rank magic treasure from the imperial family's treasury as compensation. At this moment, a pig-slaughtering squeal resounded in the area, causing Mo Xing's heart to skip a beat. He hurriedly looked in the direction of the sound. Not far away, the first prince was kicked far away by Ningyu, letting out a hysterical shriek. Deal! Mo Xing gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, a heaven-rank high-grade flying sword. If you tell Ningyu to stop, I'll give it to you immediately. It's obvious that you should give me the flying sword first. Only then will I tell Ningyu to stop, Dan Heezy said indifferently. Fine, you win. Mo Xing took out a black flying sword and casually threw it to Dan Heezy. Dan Heezy caught the black flying sword and examined it briefly. Then, he nodded and said, not bad. It is indeed a heaven-rank high-grade flying sword. Dan Heezy, hurry up and tell Ningyu to stop. Mo Xing shouted angrily when he saw Dan Heezy examining the flying sword. Don't be anxious. The first prince won't die anytime soon. Dan Heezy smiled at Mo Xing, then sent a soul message to Ningyu. That's enough. If you torture him any more, Mo Xing will flip out. Understood. The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up into an evil smile. He raised his right leg and kicked the first prince's butt. Bang! Although Ningyu's kick seemed sloppy and ordinary, it actually contained a wisp of soul force on his ankle. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.